Get this done. We are in the middle of a war in this country. It's not between black and white or even between most Democrats and Republicans. It is between those of us who love this country and a fringe minority who hates the United States of America and what we stand for. Between the permanent state and the everyday citizen. And right now we need a commander-in-chief who will lead us to victory in this war. That is this man standing right here. If you want to seal the border, vote Trump. If you want to restore law and order in this country, vote Trump. If you want to defeat the deep state, vote Trump. If you want to fight inflation, vote Trump. If you want to revive national pride in this country, vote Trump. If you want to revive our national identity in this country, vote Trump. If you want to make America great again, vote Trump. That's how we're going to win this in a landslide in November, like Reagan delivered in 1980. That's what we're going to deliver, and Donald Trump is going to deliver this November. Reunite this country. You guys do your part. Come out on Tuesday night. End this primary right here. Off to defeat Joe Biden in November. And our best days as a nation are still yet ahead of us. Vote Trump, and that's how we do this. God bless you and your families and our United States. Vote Trump.
This is a friendship that'll never ever end.
Greetings and welcome to Winning 2024. How you guys doing this evening? Tonight we're going to be doing the New Hampshire primary coverage and lots of other stuff as we watch those numbers roll in. But first, let's say hello to all those VIPs in the front row. We got Daisy Girl Williams coming in first, sliding into that first prime seat. That is Daisy Girl Williams. She's got all kinds of red, white, and blue hearts going on there. And she's also on Rumble. First one there, too. All right, Daisy. And there's Shelly. Shelly's in the house tonight. All right. And T-Rex Trucking, the $5 super chat. A rare Tuesday stream from Winning. This is a treat and should be fun. Thank you so much, T-Rex. And just for you, buddy. All right. Thank you so much, T-Rex, for that $5 super chat. Arlene was a dream. How you doing? Hi, y'all. We got Cool Gamer sliding in on here. Hello, everybody. How you doing, Cool Gamer? All right. Listening while working. Well, I'll be providing plenty of entertainment as we watch the numbers roll in here. They should be coming in here soon. Let's see how this looks. I'm trying to get the best. Whatever you guys want to watch, we'll watch. I'm definitely open to trying some different things out here. But let's see. For now, let's do this. There we go. Now, this thing should refresh, but it might not. So I might be moving things around a little bit. But to start us off, at least we'll have the numbers up there on the screen. As you know, the county in New Hampshire that votes at midnight, there's like 6 people. See 6 votes. They all voted for the neocon. So, yeah, that county's doomed. That'd be funny if that was the only 6 votes she got a whole night. But yeah, there's plenty of people out there that's under the establishment's mind control that still don't see the light. But we're here for them too, right? A lot of people, will never get it. We'll never get it. And we have to fight for them too, because actually at the end of the day, the way I look at it is they are victims of a larger problem. And I don't fault them for their place in this world. However, that's what we have, all of us have, is this moral obligation of knowing, right? And when we know, we have to act. So we pick up the reins for our fellow humans who are trapped. It's like seeing people trapped in a cage and we're on the outside, and we are the ones that have been divinely selected to fight for the cause. And there's Lex right there. What's that county? Gobbler's Knob? Yeah, something like that, like Dick's Notch or something. I think it's called Dick's Notch. Lots of love going on in the house. All right. We are on X and Rumble as well. I can see everybody's chats now thanks to the recent upgrades. Dickville Notch, I think. Okay, yeah, there you go. That's it. So yeah, I hope you guys are here and ready to go along for the ride tonight. I am your best source for political news in the scene. I'm here. I've been doing this for nearly 2 decades. I've been active, very active in this fight to regain control of our country from the control oligarchs, the globalists, the whoever you want to call them, all the bad people that want to wreck this beautiful country of ours and make sure that our kids don't have a good future, that they're locked down and controlled for the rest of their lives. And we don't want that. We have too much freedom running in our blood here in America. We don't stand for that kind of crap. So yes, we are here together to witness. And again, I'm listening to you, crowd. If you guys got some suggestions about what to watch as far as coverage go, we can do that. Shirley can whisper in my ear if she needs to. She finds something that may be good for the crowd. I did save some videos to watch for today. So as we're watching the numbers roll in, we could actually watch other things. And all relative, of course, all relatives. I was selecting some very good content to go along with what we're doing here tonight, and as well as some breaking news and some other kind of stuff like that. I thought we could do that. I'd talk a little bit more about what we're going to be doing tomorrow night. Again, I'm real excited for tomorrow night on Unveiling Reality. We'll be covering the southern border invasion and the two fellas, the two brothers that did the walk, a 30-day walk from Ecuador to the U.S. border and on in. So they were able to, I can't remember if they actually said how they got back in, but I know that they almost got to the border and they got into a lot of trouble with the cartels. So they made a lot of great points. Some eye-opening facts are going to be like how many Chinese are coming across the border, like amazing amounts, and they're all being helped in by the UN. And we, from our show last night, Control Oligarchs, we learned that China itself was spun up by the WEF, the modern day China, the policies and everything outside of the ESG, I guess. But there's a lot of their policies as far as lockdown and control mechanisms that have been recommended and taken on by the WEF, recommended to China and helped craft their new system over there, communism plus, I guess you would call it. But I also do have a nice update from Radix Verum I thought I might play. Down her vein of investigation, the federal judge slams FBI for inventing conspiracy. Release final Newberg 4 prisoner. So release is final. Okay, so this has to do with something that was way back from before, but actually kind of goes along with the Whitmer Fednapping hoax that was in Michigan, as well as the J6 staged event there. So we will be able to take a look at that. Let's see, I have another playlist. I was looking at 2024. This is it. Let's see, that was, no, it wasn't there. It was called Piven. I added a few things today. Oh yeah. I thought we'd start with a little update about the border as well. Just kind of wet our whistle for tomorrow night. Let me get this up here so we'll be ready. So if you guys know about Texas against the immigration issue, or the border invasion issue, as we should properly call it. And did that change stuff? Oh, it did. Damn. How do you do that? Okay, so I have to do this differently. Give me 1 second. I'd like to watch. Hold on a second. We got a super chat coming in here. T-Rex Truckin says $5 super chat. Thank you for that, sir. I like to watch Mad Cow farm out on MSNBC, right? I'm sure we'll have a lot of reactions. So they know they're going to lose. They know they're. In fact, Biden is not even on the ballot. He has to be written in, and some poor mind control victims went as far as to start a write-in campaign for him. So yes, I know you love Redex. So yeah, we're gonna watch a little bit of her while we're waiting for these numbers to roll in. So we'll just be doing things like that. $10 super chat from Talking Trash and Choose. Thank you so much. 2024, vote Trump. Winning 2024. FYI, I'm not in your ear right now, just your business. Okay, that sounds good. All right. And what was I saying? Oh yeah. Let's see. Let's just think better. Rumble, New Hampshire primary live stream. Who's that? Who's that from? Daisy. She got over there. This one's better. Oh, the Charlie Cook show. Yeah, well, I'll keep that one right there, and we can we'll kind of click around the world here, and we'll see if we can get a bunch of different reactions. I'm sure, like T-Rex was saying, that they're going to be like wah the whole time. Man, but I can't stand listening to their lies. Really bugs me. And thanks for everybody stopping by to drop a like. I hope you guys will stick around and with us this evening. I promise you an entertaining show for sure. We are one follower away from getting to the magic 300 on Rumble. That'd be great. That'd be a really fast jump up this year from the middle of the 2s to the 3s. That'd be awesome. So let's roll that clicker. That seems to help a little bit. And let me see what I can do about keeping us on top of things this evening. I'm going to click this back over since it hasn't changed yet to just me. There we go. And we'll check back in with that. I'm going to see if I can get a better, make sure that thing's refreshing on time. 1%. It says live. Oh, wait, hold on. Did you guys see that? Right as I did something, it changed. How about that? It's like it knew. It's like it knew. All right. Winning chat. Okay, there we go. Boom. All right, live 1% reporting. So this should work just fine, right? I mean, we're only interested in the top 2 anyways. Oh, looks like Nikki's pulled out to a little bit of a lead here with 1% reporting. We'll see. Hopefully there's no shenanigans going on that they're keeping an eye on that. Yeah, I can't stand Mad Cow either. But yeah, we got a long ways to go here. But they said within the first 30 minutes it may be called for Trump. So we will keep that in mind. All right. So I did have that video we're going to watch to kind of get us ready for tomorrow night. Did I want to watch that tonight or did I want to watch that after tomorrow night? I think I wanted to watch that afterwards. Oh, everything's working. All right, we'll let it go. Let me get back to this. How's everybody doing this evening? You guys keeping warm? It's a little bit warmer here today than it has been, but now that we're heading in the evening, it's about 48 degrees here in the Great South here. Oh yeah, I need to grab my link from X. Throw it into the and thank you for all the new subscribers on X. Look, I've 101 views already on X. All right, that's awesome. Copy the link. Now 1 viewer, but 101 impressions. I guess that's what it is. Let's see. Okay, add this to this, and we are good to go. All right, that's 100%. I will give the free speech platform links into the chat. Oh yeah, I didn't do this yet. Little Tuesday is a little different here. So, I'm not used to working on Tuesdays anymore. All right. And here comes the links, the free speech platforms. Yeah, plenty of room here. I'll pin that. Pinned up. Let me know if you hear anything in the background. Send it. What's up? How you doing? Welcome. Haven't seen you around before. Nice to meet you. How's it going? Let's know about how you heard about the channel. Everybody say hello to Send It. All right. Okay, so now I'm getting this straight. Welcome, guys. welcome. We got the live 2% reporting. It's neck and neck right here within just a few hundred, just a 100 votes or so. Oh, good. Okay. There it is right there. Okay, that's what I was looking for. Okay, yeah. Let's take a look at this because this is great. We'll watch it now anyway. So, I got other things to watch for tomorrow night too, as well as the documentary. That'll be the main focus though. We get this presented. And we're going to bring up our good friend Mark Dice to tell us about the Supreme Court decision about the Texas taking responsibility for its own border. And that didn't come out. That didn't turn out too well for us this time. And he goes into a little bit deeper explanation as to why. Okay. I'm going to need to see. Let me just go ahead and get this going. All right, hold on a second. I have a little bit of a distraction here, so give me 1 second. And boom, let's do it like this. And let's go.
Barbed wire fences are set up surrounding businesses, warehouses, and all kinds of facilities in order to protect what's inside, to discourage people from entering restricted areas, to keep away trespassers. In Los Angeles, most of the signs along the side of the freeway are wrapped in barbed wire in order to prevent would-be taggers from climbing up and covering them with a bunch of unsightly spray paint. And there was even a razor wire fence set up outside the U.S. Capitol building after the mostly peaceful protest there on January 6th in order to keep more protesters away. But when the state of Texas set up some razor wire to protect the southern border from the millions of illegal aliens who keep invading the United States over the last few years, the Biden administration sued, and it just went to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court ruled that the Biden agents can cut the razor wire in order to allow the continued influx of the illegal alien invasion. This from the Associated Press. A divided Supreme Court on Monday allowed Border Patrol agents to resume cutting, for now, razor wire that Texas installed along a stretch of the U.S.-Mexico border that is at the center of an escalating standoff between the Biden administration and the state over immigration enforcement. So the Border Patrol agents who are supposed to stop illegal immigration are being directed by the Biden administration to cut the razor wire that the state of Texas put up and then, like I said, allow the continued influx of millions and millions of more migrants. This because John Roberts and Amy Coney Barrett sided with the Marxist Democrats to allow the continued invasion of the United States. John Roberts, who probably has been to Jeffrey Epstein's island numerous times, so it's no mystery why he keeps siding with the Democrats on his rulings.
And
so
Trump
the
is
Supreme Court
ahead.
ruled to literally reopen the southern
back.
border, but MSNBC is insisting that any talk of an open southern border is fake news.
Hold on a minute. I saw Steve Schwartzman, okay, the CEO of Blackstone, one of the most successful people on planet Earth, okay, big GOP donor, but said on television this week, well, you know, we got a huge problem. We've got open borders. No, we don't. No, we do not. What do you do with that?
What?
This panel was literally arguing that the
Right.
Biden administration needs to get out their message better because Americans are being duped by conservative news outlets that the border is wide open and that there is a problem down there. But don't worry, because Vice President Kamala Harris, who is in charge of the southern border crisis, insists that it is secure.
We're gonna have 2 million people cross this border for the first time ever. You're confident this border is secure?
2 million people in 1 year, by Just thousands and thousands every single day, hundreds of thousands every single month after month after month, year after year after year.
We have a secure border in that is a priority for any nation, including ours and our administration. But there are still a lot of problems that we are trying to fix.
The problem is your administration is directing Border Patrol agents to cut down the barriers that are supposed to protect our southern border. Remember Beto O'Rourke, who was framed by the media as the next John F. Kennedy, who ran for president in
that guy's gone. Hope he
was a complete embarrassment. Well, his campaign platform was tearing down the southern border wall.
You know, would you take the wall down now? Here.
Yes.
Like you have a wall.
Absolutely.
Knock it down.
I'd take the wall down.
And do you think the city, if there's a
So this is where we're at now in the collapse of the United States. It used to be the Democrat policy to just deny that there was a problem and to just ignore it while the influx continued. But now it is the official Biden administration policy, the official Democrat Party policy to tear down the border wall. And according to Alexander Ocasio-Cortez, one of the biggest problems facing the United States isn't that we don't have a border wall, that there are millions and millions of illegal aliens coming into the country every year. It's that we're not just automatically granting them citizenship.
One of the biggest issues that we have when it comes to immigration is the fact that we have an undocumented population. Now, you can fix that by trying to build a wall.
And deporting them all, which is Donald Trump's platform.
Or you can fix that by trying to document people and create a path to citizenship.
That would be breaking things.
That would be like if a group of teenagers are caught sneaking into the exits of a movie theater. Instead of kicking them out, the movie theater would just give them free popcorn and candy. And you're not going to believe this until you see it, but the only Democrat making any sense about the border crisis is Senator John Fetterman, who appeared on CNN in his usual attire, his pajamas, Skyping in from, I think, behind a dumpster somewhere.
I honestly don't understand why it's controversial to say we need a secure border. And I think two things can be true at the same time. You can be very supportive of immigration, but we also need to have a secure border. And I think about immigration as we want to provide the American dream for any migrant. But it seems very difficult when you have 300,000 people showing up encountered at our border to do that. And I think we need to do a reset, and we have to work together and develop a new comprehensive solution to that. And that would also unlock a lot of the critical aid for Ukraine. Again, we cannot forget about Ukraine. That's critical.
Okay, so I gave him too much credit, but he still was making some sense, which compared to any other Democrat is a miracle. Who would have thought that someone with brain damage from a stroke would be making more sense than your average Democrat?
Right.
It's something you're never going to hear ever on any brand name conservative show. Not on Fox News, not on the Daily Wire, not on the Blaze. Nowhere is the role that HIAS plays in facilitating the mass migration. Well, what is HIAS, you ask? Well, it is the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society. Are they helping Jews to immigrate to Israel? No, they're helping Hispanics illegally come to the United States and cross our border here. HIAS's response in Mexico helps refugees, asylum seekers, and migrants to obtain legal protection just by claiming, hey, just tell them that you're a refugee and you flood and you get a court date 10 years in the future and you get a green card, Obama phone, get put up in a hotel by pursuing their claims for asylum in the United States. So HIAS, again, the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society, is giving them maps so that they can find their way from South America all the way up to Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, and California.
Different groups.
And guess who was on the board of HIAS? None other than Alejandro Mayorkas, who is the head of the Department of Homeland Security. So while the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society is facilitating the massive influx of numerous different ethnic groups to illegally enter the United States, the Jewish ADL says that it's unrealistic and unacceptable to expect the state of Israel to voluntarily subvert its own sovereign existence and national identity and become a vulnerable minority within what was once its own territory. So Israel needs to maintain their supermajority of Jewish ethnicity, while all Western European countries and the United States need more diversity and cultural enrichment.
And the last point I would say, caravan, open borders. These are literally white supremacist phrases.
This is one of those hot topics
Relations.
that you're just going to have to read about in my new book, The War on Conservatives, by ordering it in paperback from Amazon.com or clicking the link in the description below because, as you know, there are certain topics that just aren't allowed to be discussed openly on the big tech platforms. So read all about it by ordering my new book by clicking the link in the description below and checking it out.
All right. As I get my face uncovered here. Yeah, there you go. There you have it. They let me get this- having to dance around a little bit more tonight. We got lots of people, lots of coverage out there tonight, lots of things. The numbers are what matters already. We're kind of like streaking up. Let me go get this a little larger here. There we go. Trump's already jumping out to a lead here. Nikki Haley's doing better than expected, I would say. But you know, we all know where this is heading. Like I said, they said within the first 30 minutes, we're getting close. New Hampshire isn't that big of a place. So I would imagine that we're at 7% reporting right now. Yeah, it'll keep, we'll just see a big old influx and boom. Now they can get it done this quickly, right? Why did it take days and days and days to count the votes in the general election, right? Last time. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Well, not really, not anymore. Now we all know the truth. So what's going on out there, chat? How you doing? How you doing? Who called him the king? Who called him the king? Gave your daughter an Obama phone in high school. His trial run, it worked out well, huh? Okay, cool. How's it going over there on Rumble and X? We do have some, let's see, it looks like Benny's doing some coverage too. We got the Charlie doing some coverage. I saw Red Eagle Politics doing some coverage. They do really good delegate analysis on that channel. Younger dude, smart dude, working his way up, building a good channel, doing really awesome. Woohoo! Veteran called him that. Oh, I sent you the Benny video. Okay, cool. Veteran called him the king. Oh, I see. Well, he's the king, I guess. Some people, someone was saying the other night, what was that person saying? You know, people that were, oh, it was Mark Patsy saying, some people want Trump to be king. I don't believe that, but I guess there is maybe somebody who thinks that way. I don't think it's a big enough thing to worry about. All right, 12,000 for Trump, 11,000 for Nikki, and some change there. Cranking along at 8%. Rocking and rolling. All right. What does this say? All right, let's check in. No. See, I say, hold on one second. It'd be nice to have a production staff. New Hampshire is one of the states the Koch brothers suck millions into. Well, good. I love it when they lose money. Wait, Benny, Bernie Sanders used to go on and on about the Koch brothers, and then they end up on the same team. How weird is that? Well, I already knew that. That's the way they operated, but somehow Bernie didn't know that. But he was talking about the Koch brothers. Hey, Graham, how you doing, buddy? How you doing, Graham? Happy New Year's. I haven't seen you since. I know this is the time of year you usually buckle down and play a sink into video game world for a while. People were asking me about you. I was like, Usually Grum takes the first couple months off of the year and just play marathon some video games, but I'm sure he'll be back around soon. See, everybody's missed you, Grimmy. You are in our thoughts, even when you're not around. Yep, right. See, I've seen it twice now, so I know this is his time of year to do that. I remember. I locked it in the memory banks there. Trump's up to 14,000. He's starting to pull away here at 9%. You know, the weird thing is, like, I want to play videos, but it gets really tricky with this setup. Because if I go over here, suddenly I'm on screen. The video, if I put the videos on my second screen, it kind of covers things up. So I gotta figure out a way to do this. Because it's doing a capture from my OBS. And I guess I could keep that one screen. I'll just forget it. I'll figure it out. All right. If you guys want to see it, the Democratic numbers are right there. Unprocessed write-ins is beating Dean Phillips and Marianne Williamson. Nearly 8,000 unprocessed write-ins. That's winning the Democratic primary right now is an unprocessed write-in. How about that? 16,000 for Trump. They're down up to 10%. 16,000 to 14,000. I'm just rounding. Ellie, what's up, Ellie? Ellie. How you doing? Welcome, everybody. So happy that you're here, checking us out this evening. We are watching in stride as the numbers climb. It's rolling in fast. Like I said, they predicted that they would call it for Trump within the first 30 to 45 minutes after, so but before 8 o'clock, I would imagine they couldn't call this for Trump. But we can just sit here and chat, watch the numbers roll on up. And I will provide some video footage as well here. We can check it with Benny and the crew. I just have to get this right. Let's see. Oh yeah, pull it out. There. Let's see. I think if I did this last time, it worked. Oh yeah, it did. Okay, cool. All right, here we go. Let's watch some Benny Johnson coverage as well. And of course, I got it muted. Let me fix this real quick.
Primary in New Hampshire, the electorate was 55% Republican. It was 42% independent, and it was 3% Democratic. So in this initial wave, you're seeing some significant differences from 2016.
Wait a second. So the majority of people voting are not Republicans. Hold up. That doesn't seem right. That seems like a broken system here. But
it's not.
This is what we have in New Hampshire. There were a ton of Democrats. We cataloged them. A ton of Democrats that were voting for Nikki Haley in Iowa. This is
okay. I'm going to say something about this because I guess because he's young or hadn't maybe he's been there 15 years. This is nothing. This is not new. I talked about this the other night. It's not new because your vote is your vote. You can vote however you want to, right? There shouldn't be any restrictions on how you vote. You can use your vote in many different ways, right? Some people use their vote by not voting. You're still voting if you don't vote, right? And I know that's hard for some people to grasp, but it depends on who's in power and who's in the majority. If you're not voting against that, then you're kind of voting for that in a way by not voting against it, right? It's kind of like an apathy kind of concession, if you will. These days you got to be careful because someone might use your name and vote. They know you don't vote, so you probably need to vote just to secure your own vote. However, this is nothing new under the sun. In fact, during the Ron Paul days, we used to convince because Obama had a lock on the nomination. We convinced a lot of Democrats to vote for Ron Paul in the primaries just to vote against the neocons. Like, do you you want to take a chance that, Mitt Romney is going to be, going to come in there and beat Obama, and you're going to get stuck with another neocon and go to war? Because we could appeal to their anti-war stance. There's a lot of Democrats that still are very anti-war, and Ron Paul was vocally anti-war, right? And they could appreciate the fact that he was being honest, and that the Republicans they knew didn't like him, right? And so when you're in the minority there, you're trying to build up, you're trying to oust a toxic force within the party. You need help. You need help from across the aisle sometimes. And your vote is your vote. You can vote how you want. This whole thing about what Democrats voting, this is a broken system. No, you can vote however you want, no matter what. Well, what about when we say, Democrats change their vote to vote for Trump? Nobody complained about that. In fact, back in the Ron Paul days, we had these things called blue Republicans. I think I called them blue Republicans or blue or red elephants or something like that. I mean, we had a blue elephants. We had names for them. There's a whole channel dedicated to them. There was one dude I remember talking to him quite often. He was leading the charge to convert Democrats over to Republicans. Now, the big difference here is that we were actually, asked them to come in and vote against, to vote for a very honest man with a very good, platform, and to oust the warmongers, right? So I don't know if that changes anything, but it's still the same thing. You're going from one party to the next to vote. And in fact, I know a lot of people that did the same in the other direction, right? To go against their in their primaries, right? So to go against the establishment on the left was, at least try to put a chink in their armor. The Bernie Sanders people, they would vote for Bernie and against the incumbent primary, right? So you already guaranteed the primary on the right. So what are you going to do with your vote? It's not, you're not using it. You can use it strategically. I'm not against this in any way. And there comes a time when you may need to do that. So I don't think that there's anything wrong. You can use your vote no matter what party affiliation you have. You should be able to use your vote however you want to for each election, because there might not be anybody that you want to vote for in your party that election, and then you can use your vote in other ways. Strategically, sure, that's the way it is. Just don't cheat. I mean, I don't think it's cheating. I think cheating is stuff in the ballot box and rigging machines or whatever. That's pretty obvious, right? Even manipulation. We've seen it all here in GA. We've seen it all. But as far as just having people cross party lines to vote, for a good cause, or even in this case a bad cause, obviously, you can't have it one way or the other. It's got to be, anybody can go vote however they want to, whenever they want to. I just don't. The outrage that's going on about this, like we were talking about, maybe it's just clicky. It's just, clickbait stuff, but I don't think that it's anything to be alarmed about. It's been going on forever. And I think it's like you can use your vote however you want to, whenever you want to. Good, bad, right, or wrong, or indifferent. It is your vote to be used how you want to use it. If anybody disagrees, it gives me a good argument, I'd like to hear it. But I think that for the most part, it's not a big deal. In fact, it's been used for good in the past. So we'll just have to remember that. And if I was to talk to Benny or anybody else, I would have to remind them that, that they might not know the history. Like I said, I've been doing this a long time. So let's hear what he's saying now.
Donald Trump wins the nomination. Well, I hope you have your Xanax, and I hope you have your therapists on speed dial, because that is what's going to happen. And you can see, again, the updates here in the results. So now 12% reporting. We have Donald Trump at 53%, 46%, 38,000 votes have been cast. And this is what the map looks like as of right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is indeed Nikki Haley's, is it her last stand? Well, I don't know. It's a little bit closer, closer than I thought it was going to be quite honest with you, right? 17,000 to 20,000. Nikki Haley feeling the heat on Fox this morning. Going after the hosts, very peckish this morning for Nikki Hillary. directly attacking Fox while on Fox. Okay. That's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off.
What is a strong showing? How would you label the show? What's the showing you need to go fight to South Carolina?
Well, I've been consistent. I wanted to be strong in Iowa. We started with 2%. We ended with 20%. I want to be stronger in New Hampshire. We'll know what that is when the numbers come through. I want to be stronger than that in South Carolina. It's just continuing to
But
build.
what do you mean by that? For example, do you want to be with?
No, you have
I know
no
you wanna
shot,
win,
Nikki.
But is
You
within
have no
5
shot.
points of the former president? Is that a strong show?
You know, at the end of the day, you guys are going to be talking about what a strong showing is or not. Now, I don't know that you'll tell the truth, but I think at the end of the day, if you look at the fact that, yes, we are down, I've got one more fella in the race. I didn't get here by luck.
No, you got here with a
13
lot
people,
of
and I'm down to one
$1
more
million
person.
donors.
That's
No,
by
but
outsmarting and outworking.
Oh, don't worry about us not telling. I'm just saying that like the numbers are the numbers. It's no more.
Yeah,
So
but I
what,
don't.
what do you think is strong?
I don't think like that. What I wait is I wait and see what the numbers are and see what they look like. I don't like to predict like that. At the end of the day, it's about the
I bet you
energy, it's
don't.
about the
I
momentum,
bet you
and it's
don't.
about if it looks like we are putting up a good challenge to Donald Trump. I think we have done that up until now.
No.
Oh, ding, 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 ding. Hit a nerve.
Mhm.
I don't know if you're going to tell the truth. I doubt you will, she says to Fox News, which has been a major booster of her campaign. Uh-oh. Ladies and gentlemen, Eric Trump was just on ABC. He did a hit on ABC talking about his family, their strategy, their path forward. Big fans of Eric Trump. Love that guy. And we are going to be loading that up right now for you. It's not broadcast in a terrestrial way that we could actually pop it on screen live. And so we're getting that clip for you in just one moment. Nikki Haley was also doing an interview from the campaign trail today and also got quite prickly. Nikki Haley, I told you so, says Nikki. Yikes.
Martha, I'm running to win this race. And as much as everybody wants to talk about what I'm going to do, at some point, y'all are going to realize that I won this race, and you're going to have to accept when I say I told you so. It is slow and slow. He wins the race. I've done this the entire time. We're going to finish it. I don't want anything else. I don't want anything else. I'm running to be president. I'm not going to pull out because somebody wants to be coronated. I'm not going to pull out because they think that I shouldn't be there. The political class has never thought I should be here.
Losing.
In South Carolina, in Congress, at the UN. No one has ever thought I should be here. And that's exactly why I should be here, because I'm fighting for normal people. And I'll always do
that. What?
Nobody thought I should be here. And that's why I should be here. Well, that would be something that would be kind of insane to say, given any other circumstances. Like a bank robber inside of a bank vault. Hey, coppers. Nobody thought I should be here, but that's why I'm here. It's a strange thing. The strange stylings of Nikki Haley. This is somebody who said she tweeted, Vivek Ramaswamy, my high heels are ammunition.
What?
What? I don't get it. Okay, creepy government. Register with the government to use the internet, lady. That's fine. Let's check in on our primary. We have 45,000 votes in, and Donald Trump maintains a 10-point lead on Nikki Haley. 24,000 to 20,000. However, I mean, closer than I thought it was going to be. That's for sure. We got 14% reporting in right now. I don't think there's any reason, of course, to fear, but
this percentage right here
there
is
is
the people
no
who
early
don't
calls,
get it.
like in Iowa.
All these.
The way that
these are people
I
who do.
expect this to go
There you go.
is that once Donald Trump wins, which is of course my prediction, that Donald Trump will win by like a 60-40 margin, right? And then Donald Trump's going to give a speech right after that, because then there's no other people running, right? There's no other concessions. There's no reason to like take phone calls from people like Vivek dropping out of the race, like endorsing him and things like that, right? That was what was happening last time. Last time, the delay in the Trump speech was because Vivek had to drive over, meet with Donald Trump, and they had kumbaya, right? They both ate a bunch of McDonald's together, and then Vivek dropped out and endorsed Trump. But that was actually happening, which was what led to the delay in the speech. There's not going to be that this time. Okay, here goes. You can see there the map changing in real time. Red is Trump, yellow is Nikki Haley. And again, the 10 points are maintained by Donald Trump. 48,000 votes in, 15% now reporting, ladies and gentlemen. Time is 7:45 p.m. Now, we're supposed to have some very, very large drops for the polling places and the data around 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
And so that's where we're going to be
15 minutes, folks. 15 minutes.
Watching
Get
this
excited.
like a hawk at 8. A hawk would certainly not be the kind of bird that Nikki Haley would be, were she an actual manifested bird. But we do know that we have a manifestation of a brawler and a baller who just did an interview at Donald Trump's campaign headquarters, a man who's a dear friend of the show. His name is Byron Donalds. And Byron Donalds was out making his case for people to vote for Donald Trump. He's one of our favorites. We really like him. Could he be a vice presidential timber, as Donald Trump likes to say? Yeah. Yes. We've actually chatted with Byron Donalds about this. We think that Byron Donalds has other aspirations, but I guess we'll see what happens, right? But why would Byron Donalds be traveling all the way up to New Hampshire to stump for Trump? These are the questions. We'll jump into the vice presidential question in a moment. Here's Byron Donalds.
People like you that truly embody the America First agenda and President Trump.
First of all, the agenda is about our people. President Trump embodies that. He's been promoting that from day one. But it's about the American people so they can thrive, so they can succeed. So when you have somebody come along like Donald Trump and you say, who are you going to support? It's easy. Let's get behind them and let's get the job done. You know, I think some people are in this game for titles and they want to be important. I don't care about that stuff. I came to this to fight for people, to make sure that our government does the right thing. You got to have them back in the White House because we need leadership in this country.
Me too, Ellie.
We don't need
I did too.
capitulation. We don't need weak deals. We need leadership. He provided it. He showed this party how to fight on principle and how to fight, frankly, the media and put the truth out and actually get the job done. And we need to have that back in the White House.
Okay, you spent your time.
Ladies and gentlemen, we do have our Eric Trump. Eric Trump was just on ABC. Very interesting interview, my producer tells me. We're loading that up for you right now. Couldn't take it live, but this is live as of literally 1 minute ago. This is Elise Stefanik. This is, of course, Elise Stefanik.
Trump wins New Hampshire.
This is her logo and everything, saying that Donald Trump wins New Hampshire.
Yep.
Now,
that Elise Stefanik could be VP
too. An ardent Trump supporter.
She could be VP
Massive
too.
Trump victory in New Hampshire.
Like,
Trump
a lot of
train is
people think
slowing
it could be
down.
her.
But we can tell you right now that based on the actual reporting, nobody has called New Hampshire officially.
About 10 minutes, I bet.
We know that's dubious in these modern times.
Ross Perot,
Fox News calls Arizona for Joe
tonight.
Biden. Well, but nobody's voted. Well, who cares? We call him for Joe Biden. We watch this kind of stuff with great assault, but it's important to note that this seems, these are just people sort of putting the cart before the horse. That's all. But Elise Stefanik has declared victory for Donald Trump. David Wasserman, one of the best pollsters in the world, has said that Donald Trump will win. Here are the actual results as they stand right now. 52,000 votes. 28 for Trump. 23 for Nikki Haley. Trump maintaining a 10-point lead with 16% reporting now. And so, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. We await again the massive data drop, at around 8 o'clock.
Yep.
Where we'll kind of see effectively
16%
where we are. But as we have stated time and time again, this primary is over.
Yeah.
It's done. Donald Trump will be the victor of the primary. Donald Trump will go on to win 50 states. And it's never been done before. And we will see now a unified America First movement ascendant.
Oh.
And now comes about the most important work, no longer lighting piles of cash on fire, attacking ourselves, but now going after Joe Biden, which is
Nikki doesn't
unbelievably important.
Vote for Trump. I mean,
ladies and gentlemen, somebody who understands that, somebody who has a very keen mind for such things, especially financial things, is the man who runs the entire Trump organization. His name is Eric Trump. He doesn't do a lot of TV. He doesn't do a lot of hits. Don Jr. is usually the guy out there throwing sharp elbows on the trail. But Eric Trump,
sharp elbows,
ladies and gentlemen, did a very rare media appearance moments ago. And we have this loaded for you on ABC News. Let's go.
Joining us now is Donald Trump's son, Eric Trump. Eric, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Big night ahead in New Hampshire. Would it be safe to say you think your father is going to win? I mean, if he does, in your mind, is it on to the general election and the primary is over?
Yeah, we have tremendous momentum. Obviously, you saw what happened in Iowa, where the largest margin of victory ever in that state was 12 points. My father won by 31 points. And,
awesome.
Now I've been at all the polling locations, around the state today. The energy is incredible. The energy is absolutely incredible in New Hampshire. I think we're going to have a great night tonight. And I do really think it is on to the general election. I mean, at the end of the day, Nikki Haley she never filled out the paperwork in Nevada or something happened. So she's not even part of the caucus in a couple weeks. And then you go to South Carolina, her home state. And my father's polling at 5-1 in her home state of South Carolina. And then we go to Super Tuesdays, very well. And my father's outperforming in every single one of those states. So I think her road to victory is non-existent, assuming a victory tonight. And I think at the end of the day, we have to turn our attention to Joe Biden, who's single-handedly the worst president in the history of this country.
Haley, as I imagine has said a few times now, the race is down to one fella and one lady, and that 2 80-year-olds should not be running for office. On the trail this weekend, your dad appeared to confuse Haley for Nancy Pelosi. How do you explain this confusion when he said Haley was in charge of security at the Capitol on January 6th?
My father's an incredible man. He's incredible. He's bright. He's got more energy than any person I know. He runs circles, and I think you know this too, because you have teams of people around him every single day. He runs circles around the media. He runs circles around people that are third his age. He's a remarkable human being. He's got the brains. He's got the toughness to do the job. He'll do the job better than any human being. And we need somebody to do that job. We need toughness right now. We need a fighter in the Oval Office. He's a remarkable man. He's at the top of his game. And again, as a son, I'm incredibly proud of him.
Understood. But I do want to go back to that moment because, as you know, Haley is really saying that this is an issue of his mental fitness. I have parents who are now 78 and they do have some questions sometimes or confusion sometimes. And I do think that it is a legitimate point of hers to say, this is a really big issue if you're confusing me with Nancy Pelosi.
Lindsay, in all fairness, my father just beat her by 31 points in Iowa. He's going to beat her again tonight. She forgot to put her name on a ballot on a caucus in Nevada. I wouldn't exactly say that was using the breadth of her brain power to say the least. But we can stop with those games. I think this race is going to be over tonight. My father's a remarkable person. He's done great things for this country. He's the last person that needs to be doing this job. He does it because he cares about red, white, and blue. His life would be exponentially better if he was sitting at Mar-a-Lago with his grandkids, having a great time. He wants to save our nation. Our nation is a nation in decline. Everybody sees it.
Trump has spread discredited questions about Nikki Haley's eligibility to be president. She is eligible. He's mocked her birth name. Why do you think he's doing that? Why take that approach? We know she was born in South Carolina. She's eligible to run for president. So why question that criteria?
Lindsay, every one of these questions is just kind of like a race to the bottom. It's a race to the bottom of the bucket. And, it's we don't need to do this before. We've got 3 hours left of voting. Let the people of this country, make a decision. At the end of the day, there's two people. So far, one of them has pulled way ahead. I think he's going to pull even farther ahead tonight. But honestly, in the eve of, people voting, I just don't think there's a need to go down that, it's something that the media wants to do. They do it for ratings. They also make this
that's not really fair. That's not fair. Your dad has made this an issue. Just as recently as yesterday, he was questioning wherever she's from, which is a quote. So I understand if you don't want to talk about it, but I do think it's fair. It's not like the media is just making this stuff up. Your dad has put that out there. But that aside, I would like to ask, do you have any sense at all if he would consider Nikki Haley as a VP or Ron DeSantis potentially?
Yeah. I think that's his call to make. I wouldn't personally hope so. I saw her when she was in the administration. Every time the wind would blow a little bit to the right or the left, she'd go, running for the hills. And so, it wouldn't be my first choice to put it mildly. And I'm not sure if it would be my father's. In fact, I think he came out pretty strongly the other night and said that, that wasn't exactly in the cards. But I can tell you he'll find somebody great.
And Eric, just last question for you: whether they're right or not, or whether the prosecution is fair or not, the persecution as it's been described. Your dad does have another number of court cases that he's facing. He will have to spend a lot of this election cycle in court. Do you think, as a result of that his pick for VP has more meaning potentially than prior elections, so that person can really be out on the campaign trail for them?
Well, he's always been a great multitasker, and I think he's proving it right now. And I appreciate you saying whether it's fair or not. I mean, I can tell you as a son, it's not been fair.
Is probably
the second he got to office, they came at him with the sham Russia investigation. You know what happened there. Impeachment 1, impeachment 2. Obviously, he won both of those. They went after Supreme Court justices. Then when he came out of office, they weaponized every radical AG and DA's office in the country to go after him, with the hopes of keeping him off the ballot. And, when that didn't work, they started removing his name in Colorado. And when that didn't work, they removed his name in Maine. And, it's so desperate, and the entire country sees through it.
Well, Eric Trump, I know it's a big night, so I greatly appreciate you spending this time with us. I know you may not like all the questions, but I do have a lot of respect for you taking each question as it came, and really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much, Lindsay.
Such a classy dude, man. Such a classy dude. You may note that we've done a number of features on Trump properties, like the Trump Tower piece, and we're going to do a bunch of Trump cribs. And we work with Eric and his team on that, like, because Eric's in charge of those properties, and he's such a class act. It is amazing to listen to the framing of the question. Every single question with the framing of Donald Trump shouldn't be president. Every single damn question. And you never see that with Joe Biden.
Okay.
Like, you never see it. Joe Biden's out there crapping his pants on live TV. He's incapable of speaking the English language. He just said that you better not attack women because otherwise you'll see the benefit of it. Can we load up that clip again? We took it out of the studio. We didn't think we needed it again. But Joe Biden just said,
that's the whole reason I'm in this
at an event for Roe v. Wade, better not attack women because otherwise you'll see the benefit. But you never hear questions about that. Joe Biden never gets questions about his mental capacity. No, it's all about Trump. Never got any questions about Corn Pop being a bad dude, and Joe Biden
was on the
getting
wall
a rusty razor blade to go kill Corn Pop because Joe Biden made a racist comment to him that he has too much pomade in his hair.
Is it Corn Pop on the wall?
I mean, every time I retell the story, it seems crazy, but Joe Biden's on tape doing all of it.
Guy.
And then Joe Biden went out to go kill Corn Pop, young black guy from the wrong side of the tracks. This is what Joe Biden was doing. Joe Biden tells the story, okay? Don't come after me. It's Joe Biden's story.
Corn Pop.
Nobody ever asked Joe Biden if that was racist or if that was wrong.
If that was even real.
Joe Biden's own vice president accuses him of being an old Jim Crow, racist KKK Democrat on the debate stage in 2020. That's how far that party has fallen. But our boy Eric Trump gets questions like this on ABC News, and good for him, standing there in the gauntlet. It's despicable, actually.
Right.
It's despicable seeing all that, to be quite honest. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. A check back in. 18% reporting now. The race has not been called. As you can see here, quite a few counties have yet to report. 31,000 votes, 54% to Donald Trump, 10 points ahead of Nikki Haley. Donald Trump has remained 10 points ahead of Nikki Haley with every single ballot dump. And so we expect that, I suppose, to continue through the night. There you see another ballot dump, and Donald Trump remains a plus 10, now 11-point lead on Nikki Haley. 58,000 votes in. Around 8 o'clock, we should see some really big jumps in the ballots. And then we should see a call for Donald Trump at a certain point. And then we will see a speech from Donald Trump. We have eyes on the Trump
ABC
party in Concord.
Let's see how he's doing. 16,000 unprocessed write-ins.
We know that Vivek Ramaswamy is there. We know that Byron Donalds is there, and we know that some of our favorites actually are there and on the ground. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be doing our very best to ensure that a person who is depending entirely on Democrat voters to back her campaign Democrat donors to donate to her campaign and Democrat policies to run her campaign, along with having Democrats as inspiration. Nikki Haley doesn't win. Donald Trump's newest member, in addition to the team, not even a week on the job, Carolyn Leavitt, is a person who ran for Congress in New Hampshire. She's from New Hampshire. She obviously is going to care a lot about the state. She is the newly minted Donald Trump campaign press secretary. She was just on Fox News saying that Nikki Haley is using Democrats to try and win New Hampshire. Yee. Not a great look.
State as Caroline Leavitt, National Press Secretary for the Trump
that's what we're
campaign.
seeing, I guess,
Caroline,
here
I don't know
is
if
the
you
like
heard
crossover voting.
Congressman Norman, who's a
Let's have a piece on the
surrogate for
crossover
Nikki
voting,
Haley,
but
but
honestly,
he
you can do whatever you want with your vote.
rejects this idea that Nikki Haley is a globalist, which is a criticism from conservatives of
Oh, but
Nikki
she
Haley
is.
compared
I
to
mean-
Donald Trump. And you say?
Well, that is the truth. Nikki Haley is an open border globalist who is bought and paid for not just by the Republican
She's awesome.
establishment, but also by Democrat donors that are fueling her campaign. Her campaign is run by Democrat staffers here on the ground in New Hampshire, and they've made a very vocal and concerted effort to have Democrat voters infiltrate today's primary. And with all due respect to the congressman, Laura, he couldn't answer your question about what Nikki Haley's pathway to victory is. That's because she's never had a practical pathway to the nomination, never has, never will. We are 100% confident that President Trump will have a big victory here in New Hampshire tonight, just as he did in the great state of Iowa. Don't forget, Laura, this is the first state in the union that propelled President Trump to his historic epic defeat over Hillary Clinton in 2016. The voters here have a long and deep connection with President Trump, and our campaign is fueled not by Democrat operatives and donors, but by grassroots patriots across New Hampshire and across this country who believe in President Trump, love this country, love this state, and want to make America great again.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a breaking news base bomb for you. Let's go.
Oh, we've got a base bomb.
We just had to use it. We make all these little cutscenes, and we're so excited about it. Donald Trump has been officially declared the winner.
8 o'clock, right on dot.
Exactly 30 seconds ago.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, we checked. We checked, we refreshed,
There it is.
and we
See the
saw
check
right
mark?
here, Donald Trump has been declared the winner of the New Hampshire primary. Now, there is 19% reporting. Right now, 61,000 votes. Donald Trump has a 12-point lead on Nikki Haley, and Donald Trump has now been declared the winner. Ladies and gentlemen,
40 people voted for Christie.
we out ya. We are here.
I can hear.
It is so
Chloe
good
laughing
to
already.
see this result. It is so awesome to see it because, well, it means that this absolute charade of people, again, the abomination of lighting money on fire in a vanity project to run for president against the people's president, Donald Trump, can now potentially finally be over. Ladies and gentlemen, your winner of the New Hampshire primaries, called by Decision Desk, is Donald J. Trump. Nikki Haley at 43%, Donald Trump at 55%.
Round of applause, everybody. Round of applause.
There we go. Was it really any wonder, ladies and gentlemen? Was it really any wonder that the guy who can draw these kind of crowds inside of a state with only 1 million people is the winner of New Hampshire?
You come right on
Donald
out.
Trump, ladies and gentlemen, marches forward. MAGA
It's like a WWE
marches
intro.
forward.
You know, lights go down.
These are
fireworks
the
go off,
results,
theme song.
and expect the salty, tear-filled meltdown to happen in short order. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that now would probably be the best time to take a moment and say thank you. Thank you to those of you who kept this movement alive, who never faltered. The America First movement is something that is going to live on and survive with us and our children.
That's right.
It is an
Or our children.
ideology. It is the core of the marching orders as we enter into a very dicey period of time where we see major domestic and foreign enemies who think that America is totally weakened. And there's only one way to build ourselves back up. Now, horrendous damage has been done to this nation. Can it be undone? Well, it can, actually. With hardened resolve and true leadership, it can be undone. And now is the time. You saw with a Supreme Court decision, bewildering Supreme Court decision, that there is now complete unanimity that America must be invaded by the third world.
We covered that.
And that the country that you grew up in must become poorer and less safe and less prosperous and must become the welfare state of the world. And that is, of course, a horrific fate for our children, for our families, for the people we love, for Native Americans, which are you and me, the people who are born here, actually, and the people that wish to die here and wish to leave this place to our children and to our children's children. And it falls upon every generation to take the charge and to say, I will preserve this place for the future. Every country must have that moment. And we are having that moment right now.
Yep.
And that is what you were seeing. You were seeing it in these results here. And we are seeing it, ladies and gentlemen, happening now, hopefully across the country, as we bring more people into this movement and as we crush Nikki Haley, the fake Republican, the Democrat running in order to try and harm Donald Trump, in order to destroy our movement, or to do it either from the outside or from the inside. As Nikki Haley now vies for a position inside of the Trump administration, presumably, which is going to be quite interesting.
She can
Will Nikki Haley get the vice presidency slot? Don't think so. Donald Trump's been straight up saying that as of recently.
There's no reason to consider her for that spot.
Now my producer is telling me that Donald Trump has been called by Decision Desk and now by the Associated Press, that CNN has also called Joe Biden as a write-in candidate. Joe Biden decided not to run in
write-in candidate one
primary in New Hampshire.
That might be a record
because
right
of some
too.
fealty that he owes
actually
to the mob boss in South Carolina that got him elected, James Clyburn, the man who is literally as old as the mud that the dinosaur bones sit in.
When's the last time a write-in candidate
And now Joe Biden has allegedly won in a write-in in New Hampshire. Here's the reporting on
We
that.
do have a projection we can make right now. And CNN is projecting that President Biden will win as a write-in candidate in the Democratic primary in New Hampshire over multiple challengers who were on the actual ballot. Remember, this primary is not sanctioned by the Democratic Party here in Washington, D.C., and it does not count for delegates. Still, the DNC did not want Biden to lose, and he did pull off a write-in candidate victory in a primary that is not official. Now,
so this is the results of that. I like how they've changed the colors to super girly pastels, but this is how the New Hampshire Democrat primary is being counted. The write-in candidate would be Joe Biden. And so they have declared, CNN has declared Joe Biden the winner of this write-in. No telling exactly how that is possible. But it seems like a massive mess. Dean Phillips, the guy that we've been playing you, the Democrat that went to MAGA rallies and stuff, that guy got 6,000. There are 14,000 write-ins, 25,000 total votes. Up here, 65,000 write-ins. Donald Trump declared the winner with now 12% of the vote, with a 12-point margin above Nikki Haley. And Donald Trump winning whatever this massive county is way up here in the north that borders Canada, presumably because the northern border wall is the next thing that we need to build. So, ladies and gentlemen, there is a
Lindsay,
call
how you doing?
now by the Associated Press. Here we go. The Associated Press predicts Donald Trump has won the New Hampshire primary. And there we are. AP race call. When the Associated Press calls these kind of things, then everyone gets in line like very, very quickly, actually. And so Decision Desk has done it. And now Interactive Polls, along with the AP, have all called it for Donald Trump. Ladies and gentlemen, Fox News just called, my producer is telling me. And Donald Trump's plane has just landed. Donald Trump about to go give a victory speech. Apparently, Donald Trump will have a short ride from the airport to go give his victory speech.
Right.
And we will continue to cover this race to Donald Trump's victory speech. No telling if Nikki Haley will drop out. I guess we'll see how bad it gets, right?
She probably
This
will.
updates automatically, so I guess we'll see how bad this map actually
She'll
gets.
probably like
for
hang in
Haley.
through South Carolina, thinking she can win that because it's her home state.
So CNN
the embarrassment of that loss
has
might
declared Joe
hopefully put her
Biden the
into
winner.
retirement.
Joe Biden ran as a potato that was one of those moldy potatoes that sat at in the bottom of the bag with all like the sprouts coming from it, and been really sad and hard to watch. Donald Trump said recently that he thinks that Joe Biden will not make it through the primary process.
Do you think Biden will drop out?
Personally, I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
So here, ladies
That's
and gentlemen,
good. I like that because that
would be
way
the plan.
it
Many people are positing that this is
it
probably what's
makes
going
them
to happen.
want to keep
That
going.
Joe Biden gets through the primary process.
I want
so that
him
there's
to
no
beat
such thing
Joe
as a
Biden.
Democrat primary.
I don't want
Joe
anybody
Biden
else
has
in
a
first place.
health issue, has to drop out, pass it off to Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama makes then a pivot directly into that role. How that would happen, we have no idea. But these people don't follow any rules. They just really do what they want. The Supreme Court said that Joe Biden can't forgive student loan, and he just went ahead and started forgiving student loan. So yeah, I mean it's time, ladies and gentlemen. I mean it's the time that there are no rules. What are Democrats capable of? Well, I mean anything. That didn't stop them from trying to put their main political opponent back into prison. They're trying to lock up Donald Trump for over 400 years. Donald Trump would have the power to
400
pardon himself were he to become president, would have the power to stop, of course, all of these investigations and all of these political persecutions. It would be really a fascinating constitutional question. We'll get to that in due time. Donald Trump making a declaration now, statement from President Trump's New Hampshire victory. Nikki Haley said she's running to stop the reelection of Harris Biden. Harris Biden. as though Kamala Harris is in fact running everything. Okay. Yet without a viable path to victory, every day she stays in the race is yet another day she delivers for the Harris Biden campaign. It's time for unity. It's time to take the fight
That is true.
to the Democrats. And for Nikki Haley, it's time to drop out. Well, there you go. Make America Great Again, Inc., which is the super PAC for Donald Trump. So there we go, baby. There we go. There's the statement.
Around, we'll be listening to the
Ladies and gentlemen,
victory
here's the
speech
official
soon.
call from Fox
and
News.
hoping that Haley
Donald
will drop
Trump
out, but we'll see.
winning the New Hampshire primary.
We have a call to make. Let's bring in Martha McCallum, anchor of The Story, and Brett Baer, anchor of Special Report.
Well, Jesse, the Fox News Decision Desk can now project that former President Donald Trump will win the New Hampshire Republican primary. This is an important win for Trump, given the role that undeclared vote.
So that is two anti-Trump anchors on Fox News having to report that. Fox News, you remember, banned Donald Trump for like 100 days when they were upset with him. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen. NBC News now live calling it for Donald Trump with Nikki Haley's party in the background. But you can see here, this
or did
is
they
live
think they
on
had this
NBC
the whole
News.
time?
Team Trump, no, Tom. I mean, the professionals in this campaign, the folks who run it, have done this kind of thing before. They were very confident in their numbers. They were very confident that ultimately core Republican voters were going to come home from their candidate. But the candidate himself, Donald Trump, as he always does, expresses himself on social media, made very clear that he was frustrated with the numbers he was clearly seeing earlier in this evening, talking about the number of Democrats, the number of independent or unaffiliated voters participating in this process. He won New Hampshire by 20 points in 2016. And I think less so the Trump campaign, but more so the Trump candidate expected to see a similar margin in this state. I don't know that that's going to end up being the case here. And so that frustration about the margin was palpable. That frustration at Chris Sununu, the New Hampshire governor, has been palpable throughout the week. But the Trump campaign, I think, never really sweated that this would be a win here. Just sort of how much of a rhetorical advantage would they get towards their argument that the primary needs to end now was sort of the one big question that they faced over the last 36 hours or so.
Garrett, thank you. If you're just joining our coverage, former President Trump, the projected winner by NBC News of the New Hampshire primary. As soon as we get some reporting on when former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley or former President Trump will take the stage to speak in New Hampshire, we're going to bring that information to you live. We also have a team of reporters at the Haley event. As soon as we have new reporting, we're going to bring that to you. I want to bring in our panel back here for more. Hogan, I'm going to start with you. Do the margins matter tonight?
No. I don't think they do. Donald Trump will now be 2-0, and Nikki Haley is 0-2. He will win Nevada because she's not on the ballot there. It's a caucus. And then he's ahead big in South Carolina as well. And as I said before, I don't see a world in which Nikki Haley decides to keep going and lose her home state by 35, 40 points, which is what she's on track to do right now. Yes, had it been 1%, really close, maybe we could be having that conversation. But this is a decisive win for someone in Donald Trump, where a GOP candidate has never won Iowa and then gone on to win New Hampshire. Not to mention the fact, I believe it's the first time in history, I think Garrett said, where the amount of independents and Democrats voted in the GOP primary outweighed the number of Republicans. It's a huge deal for him to take both of these states.
To win both and win both over 50%. And as Hogan says, he's going to win Nevada. It's not contested. And Haley will try to stay in for a while, I think, which is not going to be a happy experience for her. The entire conservative media is going to attack her for staying in, saying this thing's over. Why are you helping Joe Biden? And if she stays through South Carolina, she's going to lose handily there as well.
Tara, I want to read from the Nikki Haley campaign memo that was put out before the voting was done in New Hampshire. It was a very effective memo, if you will. And they write, listen, we started with 2% 11 months ago, $0 in the bank. No one thought we had a shot. No one thought we could get it done. And here we are, $50 million raised, over 200 stops, and 12 fellas later, and Nikki's still standing. Will she still be standing after this
All
loss?
Democrat money.
I think the margins do matter. If it's a double-digit loss, then it will be difficult. Earlier, I said I thought it was a fait accompli anyway, that Donald Trump would be the nominee, and I didn't see a path for her regardless of the results tonight, even if she did win. But at this point, I'm not surprised by the result. We'll see at the end. We only have, 16% in. We'll see what the margins are at the end. But it's also a matter of whether donors still feel comfortable giving her money. We all know, we've been in campaigns long enough to know that you stay in the race as long as you have money.
That's right.
And so if the Koch network and other donors feel as though they can still support her, and that memo is something they think it creates a path, then she'll stay in. But to Hogan's point, she is losing by 30 to 40 points in her home state. I don't know any campaign where losing that decisively in your home state shows there's a path for you to gain momentum to move forward after that. So I think they're going to have a lot of discussion. Now, the primary isn't until February 24th. So does she stay in and still hammer Trump and think that somehow that's going to weaken him moving forward? Maybe, but I don't see why. I don't see that really being for her.
If you'd been told, if any of us been told, I know if I'd been told a year ago, even 3 months ago, Nikki Haley finished at whatever it's going to be, 45% in New Hampshire, I would have been shocked. I mean, she's overperformed in this campaign, but she's just, the way she's campaigned, the way she's been branded, the way she's been attacked, she's just too far over on the non-Trump side of the party, where you can get that in a state where independents are a huge swing vote and they're coming all in because they don't have a Democratic contest, but that's just not going to be replicated elsewhere. And she's not going to be, DeSantis couldn't get enough of the Trump vote and widen into the non-Trump vote because she had it. She has a grip on the non-Trump vote, but won't be able to get further into the party to get to a winning plurality or majority places.
We know former President Trump likes to speak late on these nights.
It's because they had so many Democrats
Hogan, what do you think we're going to hear
for.
from him?
I think you're going to hear a very similar message to the one you heard after Iowa. He's going to thank Nikki most likely. He will also talk about the need to unify and focus on Joe Biden, as he is the enemy, he believes, of this party and of this country. And I would imagine that's
Hogan, I got to
the fact
interrupt
he
you
takes.
because we do have some breaking news. It looks like Nikki Haley's about to take the stage after
Oh,
losing
God.
New
This ought
Hampshire.
to be good.
Here's the former UN ambassador now.
Here we go. Here we go. Is she going to drop out?
Oh, I love
Ooh.
What a great night. God is so good all the time. Thank you, New Hampshire, for the love, the kindness, the support, and a great night here tonight. Thank you so much. I want to first say thank you to my husband, who I know is watching right now. I love you. We're excited to have you. Thank you. I want to thank my kids who are here, Rita, Nayland, and Josh, who have really kind of stepped up and just given me the support I need. You know, you really pull on your family when something like this happens, and I am incredibly blessed by their support. I have my parents at home, and I will always say that the way they raised me, to know that we lived in the best country in the world, but to also know that the best way you appreciate your blessings is to give back. Thank you, Mom and Dad. I love you so much.
Give back by giving up.
To my siblings, to my in-laws, to everybody back at home, to Vicky for helping me take care of Mom and Dad. Thank you for that. You know, I will tell you, it feels like it's been a lifetime, but it has been almost a year that we've been campaigning in New Hampshire, touching every hand, answering every question, being the last person to leave. And we had the most amazing thing happen is the second that we got the endorsement from Governor Chris Sununu. I mean, a true governor that doesn't stand behind a podium. He shows up at a diner. He shows up at the brewery. He loves the people of New Hampshire. He has been with me every single day at every single event. Chris, I couldn't have done it without you. And I want to thank someone who was with me on day one. He's a patriot. He's a hardcore conservative. And he is my friend, General Don Bolduc. And Sharon, thank you so much. I want to congratulate Donald Trump on his victory tonight. He earned it. And I want to acknowledge that.
Yeah, yes, he is.
Now, you've all heard the chatter among the political class. They're falling all over themselves, saying this race is over.
It is.
The entire.
Well, I have news for all of them.
Oh, God.
New Hampshire is first in the nation. It is not the last in the nation. This race is far from over. There are dozens of states left to go. And the next one is my sweet state of South Carolina.
The next one's Nevada. What?
At one point in this campaign, there were 14 of us running. And we were at 2% in the polls. Well, I'm a fighter. And I'm scrappy. And now we're the last one standing next to Donald Trump.
That's as close as you're going to get.
And today we got close to half of the vote. We still have a ways to go, but we keep moving up.
Fake optics. Fake optics. She knows it.
For a lot of people, politics is way too personal. It's not personal for me. I voted for Trump twice.
I was proud to serve America in his cabinet. I agree with many of his policies. I decided to run because I'm worried about the future of our country and because it's time to put the negativity and chaos behind us.
Which all came from the media and the establishment. Yeah.
We have an economy that's crushing middle-class Americans. We have a border that is totally open and dangerous, creating a disaster in our country. Unbelievable. We have schools that are failing too many of our children, and we have a world on fire with a war in Europe and the Middle East and a huge and growing threat from China. And then you look at Washington, D.C. We have a Congress that fights about everything and accomplishes nothing. And we have Joe Biden in the White House making one bad decision after another, when he's making any decisions at all. Our country's in a real mess. And the question is, who's going to fix it? With Donald Trump, Republicans have lost almost every competitive election. We lost the Senate. We lost the House. We lost the White House. We lost in 2018. We lost in 2020.
We all know what that was about.
And we lost in 2022. The worst kept secret in politics
Out harvesting
is how badly the Democrats want to run against Donald Trump. They know Trump is the only Republican in the country who Joe Biden can defeat. You can't fix the mess if you don't win an election. A Trump nomination is a Biden win and a Kamala Harris presidency.
Boo.
I defeat Biden handily. With Donald Trump, you have one bout of chaos after another. This court case, that controversy, this tweet, that senior moment. You can't fix Joe Biden's chaos with Republican chaos. The other day, Donald Trump accused me of not providing security at the Capitol on January 6th. Now, I've long called for mental competency tests for politicians over the age of 75. Trump claims he'd do better than me in one of those tests. Maybe he would, maybe he wouldn't. But if he thinks that, then he should have no problem standing on a debate stage with me.
She's doubling down. She's doubling down.
Yep.
Most Americans do not want a rematch between Biden and Trump. The first party to retire its 80-year-old candidate is going to be the party that wins this election. And I think it should be the Republicans that win this election.
But you're a Democrat.
Our fight is not over because we have a country to save. In the next 2 months, Millions of voters in over 20 states will have their say. We should honor them and allow them to vote. And guess what? In the next 2 months, Joe Biden isn't going to get any younger or any better. We'll have all the time we need to defeat Joe Biden. When we get to South Carolina, Donald Trump's going to have a harder time falsely attacking me. The great people of South Carolina know I cut their taxes. They know I signed the toughest illegal immigration bill in the country. They know we passed voter ID and tort reform and ethics reform. And they know we moved 35,000 people from welfare to work.
We've just been listening to former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley deliver her concession speech there in New Hampshire, but making it very clear she is not going anywhere.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so now we actually await the winner's speech. Nikki Haley, pretty highfalutin for somebody who just lost by double digits in the race. Here we go. This is the most recent tally, almost 100,000 votes. Now we are at only 31%. 100,000 votes. Donald Trump still maintaining a 10-point lead on Nikki Haley. And just a real quick fact check here. Donald Trump does better against Joe Biden than Nikki Haley.
Yeah.
This is the Real Clear Politics polling. The spread for Nikki Haley versus Joe Biden is just 1 point. A single point. If you tabulate all the polls together. The spread for Donald Trump is nearly 3 points. So this whole idea that I can beat Donald Trump and I will beat him. This is like the kind of fantasy delusion that Mitt Romney had. This is why they want Nikki Haley so badly. Because they'll get another Mitt Romney. They'll get another mishmash. Whipped cream candidate. They'll get a Democrat light and they'll be able to beat Democrat light with a Democrat. Nikki Haley, like, it's kind of weird that she has to consistently tell people she's a Republican. It's like, seems a little strange that it's almost like you're a little guilty about the fact that the vast majority of people have an unfavorable opinion of you. Do Americans have a favorable or unfavorable opinion of Nikki Haley? She has an unfavorable opinions.
That's why I hope I can
unfavorables of plus 5 points. So this idea that she's some type of like paragon of favorability and that everyone loves her is a lie. And it's worth dispelling that lie, as Donald Trump declared the winner of the New Hampshire GOP primary. That being said, a lot of people who are not members of the GOP voting in this primary,
speech right now,
ladies and gentlemen, and Donald Trump made history tonight. Donald Trump made history as being the first person to ever win the New Hampshire primaries 3 times in a row.
Clearly, it is a solid win. It would also be no one has won the Republican nomination, won Iowa, won New Hampshire, and not gone on to secure the nomination. So history is on the former president's side when he looks ahead at these other states. But we have heard, as everyone has said time and time again from Governor Haley, that she doesn't believe that 2 states should decide who the nominee is going to be, and that she intends to stay in this, that she intends to work hard over the next month into South Carolina. But whether or not they rethink this, given the end of the night numbers here, we'll see.
She is outperforming the polls going into this day. She is doing better across the board. How that turns out at the end of the night is the big question. The other history made tonight, Jesse, is that Donald Trump is now the only person ever to win the New Hampshire primary 3 times. So there you go.
I'm sure we'll hear him note that in the speech tonight. Always likes to break records and make history.
You know, Jesse, just one other thing that I would mention. Nikki Haley, what she's been saying all along is I was at 2% in the beginning, got to 20% in Iowa. Now you look at this number at 45. If it stays in that area, she's going to say, then I doubled what I did in Iowa. So she's going to, I would imagine, characterize this as a continued climb. And we'll see, what she has to say at the end of the night and where this goes.
And if the donors buy all of that.
Exactly.
Okay, well, as we saw over at Hemmer's board, we still have a pretty long way to go when it comes.
So, Nikki Haley saying she's not dropping out. Nikki Haley saying she's going to take this all the way through. Who knows? South Carolina, she says there's millions and millions of more voters. The next battle is South Carolina, she says. Lie. That's not true. No, actually, the next one is Nevada. That's insane. You forgot to get your name on the ballot there. But anyway, so Nikki Haley is going to march forward and is now taunting Donald Trump, saying that he'll lose to Joe Biden and saying that Donald Trump's scared to debate her. Ooh, baby, we're going to be very interested in monitoring Donald Trump's speech. Donald Trump will be speaking here momentarily at any moment. And of course, we'll cut live to that when and as it happens. I have been sent a Donald Trump meme with Nikki Haley that I am duty bound to play for you now.
Say Car Nimrod.
Yeah.
Say Car Nimrod.
Vermont plates, Alpha, God, Mustard, One, Niner, Decade, China. Check it.
You didn't say it.
Okay, all right. Okay, we'll have occasional meme breaks here. Joining the program now, the great executive producer for our show, ALX, along with our deputy producers, Danny Dayurbina and Robbie Meyer. Robbie, how are you? ALX, how are you? Danny, what's up?
What's going on?
Danny, that's a very, very good background you got there. Very well done.
Keep it based over here.
Real quick, while they do introductions, I just want to say thank you to everybody. We have crossed 300 followers and got 301 actually. So thanks to everybody who made that happen. And onward and upward.
We're taking it back.
So you have the Nikki Haley sweater on. That is actually the exact same sweater that Nikki Haley's been wearing to all of these events. Nikki Haley not dropping out. This is the big news. And ladies and gentlemen, what you are seeing here, of course, is our entire producer team that does the show and clips the news and is monitoring the news right now. At any moment, Donald Trump could walk on stage, and so we will cover that when he does. But Nikki Haley on stage moments ago saying, "I will not drop out. Donald Trump's afraid to debate me." Do you think that's true, Alex?
I think it's a little delusional at this point. She's like the only one left. And just what you noted too with the polls, she says that she's best suited to go against Joe Biden, and she's citing some poll from half a year ago. And you look at the Real Clear Politics average, and Trump's up over a percentage point against Joe Biden compared to Haley. And he's held that lead consistently. And that's, he had an outside of the margin of error lead in the Real Clear Politics average for the past 6 or 7 months at this point. And Haley is still clinging on to this one poll that was taken, in March of last year or something. And at this point, Trump really doesn't owe it to her to be on the same stage, because look at the numbers in every other state. This is basically I'd compare Iowa to DeSantis. This is her Iowa. She poured all of the resources into getting those switchover votes, Democrats, independents, whatever. And you're seeing a lot of the people, the exit polls and the interviews of people essentially saying that it's a vote against Trump, whether it's, liberal Republicans or Democrats who say that they're going to vote for Biden in the general election. So, this kind of open primary type thing, and that's kind of boosting her numbers. I don't think that gives her the credibility to say Trump is afraid to face her on the stage, because that's, I think, what we're seeing here.
Robbie, your thoughts on how it shook down tonight? Possibly a little closer than some would want to admit. It's 105,000 votes in, 32% reporting. So these numbers might tighten, or Donald Trump may run away with it. I don't know New Hampshire well enough to know exactly where these regions are going to land, but Donald Trump has been declared the winner. We await Donald Trump's victory speech. But is this a little tighter than MAGA would want to? Is it a little tighter than MAGA would want to see tonight?
No, I think this is the same thing we saw last week, Benny, when we were in Iowa. Went to the caucus, and there were about 3 Nikki Haley voters in there, and they all look like Dem plants. And I think this is the same thing all over again in New Hampshire. These are Dems who are boosting Nikki's
100%.
numbers. As soon as we get back to a red state like Nevada, which is next, and then South Carolina, I think you're going to see these numbers just skyrocket above 60. maybe 65% for President Trump. Benny, one thing we got to note. She
Is she
started
even on the
off saying
ballot
thank you to everyone. She still doesn't say her
Nevada?
husband's name.
Dude, she changed her husband's name.
She changed it, but she can't even say it on stage. Bill, Michael, she doesn't know.
Yeah.
She can't remember.
This is a fact. Let's grab that article. But this is a fact. I'll put it up on screen. She changed her husband's name. Well, you have to be a sociopath to do that. You have to be crazy. You have to have a bird brain. The article goes like this. His given name, his Christian given birth certificate name is Bill, and she just said declared one day, "You're a Michael." What kind of person does that? Danny, would you allow that to happen to you?
Michael.
I don't know if you have a girlfriend, Danny, but would you allow her to change her name?
I would not, and we would just sort of hashtag say his name.
Yeah, Nikki Haley straight up changed her husband's name. Maybe this is why Nikki Haley's favorability is totally underwater. There is this kind of wild idea that she's this broad stroke electable person and that everyone's going to run and love her. And we've missed on that as a Republican Party for a long time, right? Like Mitt Romney was supposed to be that person. John McCain was supposed to be this guy with this broad appeal to moderates and suburban women and things. We heard that lie. Suburban women love Mitt Romney. We've heard that before. And both those guys went down in flames. Hey, Alex, do you think it'll work again?
No, not at all. I'm just like surprised that she's actually going to stay in this, after seeing the numbers. And to Robbie's point about, Nevada is going to be, it's going to be a landslide because she's not even going to be on the ballot. But what's interesting to me is it seems like Trump has better numbers in South Carolina, where she was formerly governor. And then, Trump brought the entire delegation from South Carolina.
Hey,
on
Jacob
stage in New
Pete, how's it
Hampshire
going?
as sort of like, an intimidation tactic against Haley because, he knows that that's her home state. And usually you'd perform better in your home state than some random state that she's recruiting Democrats from. But it's really surprising that she doesn't have, a better performance in South Carolina or expected performance there. So I think maybe it's a little more surprising that she's done kind of this well in New Hampshire, but again, if this is the only thing she has to hang her hat on in the campaign, it's not very many delegates. It's a small state, and if she can't put up a fight in her former home state, I think it's delusional at this point. So
I'm getting weird vibes from these numbers, assuming that so many people crossed party lines in order to vote for Nikki Haley, in order to scuttle Donald Trump. We know that the left has had their brains broken, and that the people who are voting for Nikki Haley are Democrat plants. We know this for a fact. And as Robbie just brought up, when we get to hard red states that don't have these kind of insane rules where anyone can vote, which is insane, because that's how you rig primaries, then I think you're going to get a different story. Danny, I want you to respond to this clip. There is a clip of a couple of Haley voters showing up in order to cast their vote for their favorite Republican candidate.
Christian, who did you vote for and why?
Yeah, so thank you. I voted for Nikki Haley, and it was certainly a strategic vote. I think the DNC is fairly resolute in their nomination for Joe Biden. And while I wouldn't vote for her in a general election, particularly on our differences with climate change solution, a women's right to bodily autonomy, or incarceration rates, I think a vote for Nikki Haley helps diminish Trump's influence in the RNC and their nomination, but is also a vote towards democracy.
And Christian is emblematic of so many conversations that I've had here throughout the day. Rachel?
Benny, I've seen that kid before. He has to be one of those like sweaty kids that sits into my like poli-sci classes because they're all the same. And like New Hampshire was Nikki Haley's saving grace. I mean, this was where the Democrats were going to come out in droves and vote for her. And she's not getting the results she expected. And actually, if you look at that map that we had up a second ago, you look at those population hubs, you look at Nashville, you look at Manchester, those are supposed to be where those are the population hubs. And so that's where you expected Nikki Haley to maybe have a more commanding lead. Those are blood red at the bottom. So Trump was able to close those margins. And this whole thing is a margins game. And so I'm sure the pollsters are looking at this map right now, and they're saying they're probably looking at exit poll data, and they're saying Haley's not going to be able to close those margins in the other counties. And so they're calling it for Trump pretty early on. Nikki Haley's talking about dozens more states to go. I mean, lady, come on. There's one thing I agreed with her in her speech, and it's that we have a country to save. And so if she wants to be a leader, part of being a leader is stepping up and being humble when you need to be, and understanding when you don't have the mandate to lead. And right now, she clearly does not have the mandate. And if we want to save this country, we need to all coalesce around a single candidate who can actually beat Joe Biden in the general. And she's just showing time and time again she wants to be a cog in that wheel. And it kind of looks like Bowen's second asset went down mid-flight tonight in New Hampshire.
Oh, that's a good one, Danny. Boeing's second asset goes down in flames, even with like soy betas, like that guy being like, Nikki Haley doesn't support climate change, but I support Nikki Haley, not against Joe Biden, of course. This is like the fourth person that we've had in just a random interview that's like, I'm voting for Nikki Haley, and then I'm going to vote for Joe Biden in the general.
Right, and here's the other thing. Those things don't happen organically. Like there must be some coordination happening internally at the Haley campaign with the local Democrat parties to get these people out of their homes to switch votes or switch their registration and vote in a Republican primary, because they're obviously not your typical Republican voter. And so I'm really curious to see what that coordination is, because there needs to be some kind of link between the Haley campaign and the local Democrat parties, because there's no other way that these people will just randomly come out and vote for Haley.
ALX, you don't live too far from New Hampshire. Was this result ever in doubt for you?
Yeah, so I'm actually like less than an hour from New Hampshire. It's always been sort of a weird state, just because of the low populations. So that means it's all dependent on turnout, and turnout could very well flip the result. But when I do go up there for Trump rallies and stuff, there are, and as we've seen, there are massive arenas, the SNHU arena, and many others that he can fill. So the enthusiasm for Trump, and it's kind of like this in the conservative parts of Massachusetts as well. While it might be a liberal state, the conservatives here are very conservative. So that's kind of the same feel as in New Hampshire. So I do know that a lot of Republicans are hardcore Trump in New Hampshire. So I really didn't think that he would lose this state, but obviously he had to hedge against the whatever shenanigans Haley tried to pull with the Democrats. So, but it was never really in doubt for me. No, I saw the enthusiasm there, and I've been there so the first election in 2016, like I went to 4 or 5 rallies in New Hampshire. I saw like Rudy Giuliani a couple days before the election, and then I think his last rally right before election night was actually in New Hampshire. It was like a late one, and he ended up taking the stage around like 11. So he has a special bond with New Hampshire, so I feel like it was never really in doubt.
Robbie, you're the only person on this chat who has actually worked directly for Donald Trump, working in the administration in different positions and for different great people like Ben Carson, right? Rick Perry. And so you know a little more about the intricacy of the network and people who have now been out on the trail. Obviously, Ben Carson has been, your former boss, has been stumping for Donald Trump a lot on the trail. What are your insights into how resilient MAGA is? Because it really seems to have shocked a lot of people. These results will play for you in a second. Rachel Maddow crying on camera over these results last night. The left seems stunned that MAGA is so resilient.
I don't think it's a shock. I think you go back to that picture of who likes Nikki Haley. No one likes her. There's an open secret in DC with polling that no one likes her. The thing that you cannot compete with Trump on is his charisma. And then he surrounds himself with charismatic people. People like a winner. And I think what you're seeing is we're going to go into this election with a fighter. And the MAGA resiliency, I think when you look across the country, it's something that you cannot put into a poll. And I think it's difficult for people to see. And working in politics, you get blinded by the dollar signs that come at you to work for someone. rather than what you know in your gut is true, which is this is a guy who's probably unbeatable. And I think that, you know, you look at what Governor DeSantis did last week and dropping out after his second place finish. Good for him. At least he wound up with a second place finish and not a third or fourth or worse.
Right.
Nikki Haley, you got your silver medal. Go home, enjoy the vacation, and go back to consulting for the military industrial complex.
So it does seem like there is a massive disconnect with Nikki Haley and actual Republican voters. And once you exit caucuses where Democrats can vote in Republican primaries and caucuses like they did in Iowa and New Hampshire, you're going to have a big, big problem. Do you think that Nikki Haley will be able to like muster any support in her home state of South Carolina, Danny?
I don't think so. I think she's clearly shown contempt for the Republican base. And so I think it's just very hard to move forward from that. Apparently she has a way of getting Democrats out of their homes to vote for her, but I think it's going to be very challenging to see her try to message to the base to have them turn out as well, because so far she's done the opposite of that.
Yeah. I will say that perhaps her fashion statements on the trail will change some of the people's opinion of her. We don't know. This is a photo from Nikki Haley at her concession speech tonight, looking upset, but apparently carrying forward. And so, you know, carrying on. And so
we are taking back the patriotic sweater from Nimbra. This is the hill to die on.
ALX, are people in South Carolina going to show up and vote for their former governor? We hear she's very popular there.
I don't think so. And another thing I'll note too is that a lot of those donors, those big Republican donors that are anti-Trump, were kind of waiting to see what this result would be before spending their money. So I feel like a second place finish, and you know, she didn't do her homework and get on the ballot in Nevada, and for her to bank on a state that she's not going to perform as well as here in, being her home state, and having the entire delegation from South Carolina already unified behind Trump, it's, you know, she's not going to perform well, and she's not going to get any new money, because this isn't enough to entice big mega donors to keep spending. So and that was one of the issues with DeSantis too, is I feel like money was running out, and they're bleeding into the super PAC, and that was, you know, keeping it afloat in Iowa. So that's kind of what they're going to see here. I feel like money is going to run out, and they're going to lose
a lot of money go through.
So I don't feel like she has
Mil.
Anywhere else to go. South Carolina is probably going to be it for her.
When the money dries up, you're kind of done, right? And so I guess that really is the question. Now, Nikki Haley is backed by some deep pockets. She's backed by Americans for Prosperity, right? She's backed by the Club for Growth and some of the other dark money groups, the Koch brothers and so on. But at some point, you're doing more damage to yourself, right, by staying in the race. Again, Robbie, as somebody who served in the Trump administration along with Nikki Haley, what damage
they won
is Nikki
right in
doing
one
to her potential political career here by staying in? Many people view this as
called the race
fool's
for
errand, a vanity project, or even worse, Nikki Haley posting up, hoping something terrible happens to Trump and she can swoop in.
I don't think anyone buys the swooping in. I think originally, I think she was running for VP, and she let the donor talking class get into her head and say, maybe you can beat this guy. Maybe you can beat Trump. And the writing on the wall is sitting there saying she has no chance. I mean, when your own former lieutenant governor, who is now the sitting governor of South Carolina, is endorsing your opponent, you have a problem. And that's where she sits right now. She doesn't have the support in her home state. She's not going to be able to continue on. I worked on Newt Gingrich's presidential campaign back in 2012, and we had an influx of money after winning South Carolina. We couldn't make it past one more state, which at the time was Florida, because we ran out of money. She's not going to have the money coming in. She's not going to be able to sustain this. It is at this point, it's her listening to the chirping, chattering DC bubble telling her that she's America's last hope to win, when DC hasn't sat there and elected anyone worth their salt in over a decade. It's the grassroots back home. It's the people who watch the show. It's the people who decide who goes to Washington. And I'm going to do all I can to make sure that those types of people go up there and cause a ruckus.
There is, by the way, you talk about the DC bubble. There are some really funny clips out of people who live inside of that bubble, including, but not limited to, Pee Wee Herman, who cry on camera regularly when Donald Trump wins things. We have the clip of Rachel Maddow crying, announcing Donald Trump's victory once more. 2 times in a week, man. We are spoiled for choice. Well, I would love to get your reaction to this one, Danny.
So again, the big news is that NBC News has projected that the winner of the Democratic primary in New Hampshire is Joe Biden, and the winner of the Republican primary in New Hampshire is Donald Trump. What that means is that all eyes now turn to Nikki Haley. How will she react to this loss? What will the margin be, and how will she characterize the margin in terms of what it means for the prospects of her campaign going forward?
So fighting back tears is
I thought she was
Rachel
actually gonna
Maddow.
cry.
Danny, are we going to get our sodium here in 2024? There's going to be a lot of this, isn't there?
Crying is not unlike Rachel Maddow, but I'll tell you what, she's doing wonders for the salt economy. I only hope she subscribes to the Betty Grid because she's letting the salt flow for sure. But my goodness, I mean, we should be prepared for 2024, what's coming our way. I will not rest easy until we have another one of those camera shots of the Javits Center, Hillary Clinton's victory party in 2016. Everyone's just losing their minds, spontaneously combusting as the camera pans around. That's what I want to see in 2024. I think the energy's there. Trump's packing arenas like no one's been able to in the past years. And I'm feeling optimistic more and more every day about what we're going to see.
A lot of people caring a lot about this VP pick. ALX,
Right.
we've been
What's the
following
big
it very
news?
closely. We've been trying our hardest to do responsible
I mean,
reporting
it's
on it.
that
And
and when
bring
Haley
everyone,
drops out. That's the two things we got to look forward to.
bring the energy towards candidates that we think are good, and then obviously keep as much as we can do, keep Trump away from candidates that are bad. Nikki Haley, what are your thoughts as this VP race plays out? This is now, I think so much of the energy is going to pivot here now as to who's next, right?
Yep. I'm still a big fan of Vivek, and it looks like, as I said, the energy is shifting in that direction. What I'll be curious tonight is if he brings Vivek or anyone else up to the stage at the victory party in in Iowa. He had an entire ensemble of Doug Burgum was up there.
He needs
John
Vivek
Boehner
with him
was
in
up
every
there,
place.
Eric was up there. Like his entire delegation from the state in Iowa and a couple other people.
Put out a new
Matt
script today
Whitaker,
featuring Vivek.
a
Actually,
bunch of
you just
people
might want to
were
check it out.
like behind him during the speech.
Appreciate
So
it.
I'm curious if he'll do that, something similar
It's pretty
to
rocking.
that, or if he'll bring people up one by one, or if he brings anyone up. So I think that might give an indication if he, like I said yesterday during the speech, the first person he called up was Vivek, and the only person that didn't speak that was hyped up before the event, before Trump got there, was Vivek. He didn't give an intro speech, but he gave a speech when Trump was on stage. So I'm curious to see what the dynamic will be at the victory speech here in Nashua. So we'll see if there's any hints given there.
Ladies and gentlemen, getting other comments from one of our other incredible, intrepid members of our team, Ashley, saying that the podium is now up for Donald Trump to speak, and there's a live shot of the podium. So once again, we will we will be going directly to that when it is live. Your thoughts, Robbie, on the vice presidential selection? The reason why this is so important. Why are you so obsessed with it, Benny? Well, because this means the future of MAGA. Like, this really does quite literally mean the future of MAGA. You've worked with and for Ben Carson very closely. Some people said maybe Ben Carson. I don't know. Maybe Ben Carson. I mean, your thoughts, Robbie?
Well, I heard a lot of in-talking from people surrounding the Carson camp that Carson is the one person who was the friend of President Trump from the start to the finish of the last presidential term. He is also the person who's called him every day since. Is he in the running? Most likely. But I'll tell you, after this week, I love Vivek as a millennial. I would love to have some young blood help and reinvigorate Washington and take it to the next generation. But I think there's something with Senator Scott. I think that the way he was brought in at the last minute, the engagement photos, I think there's a lot going on there. I think they're
We
prepping
never
him for
thought he'd get
something.
married.
Congratulations. No, congratulations, Senator Scott. We're so happy for you.
We never
But
thought.
I think that's what you should be looking for tonight. How involved is Senator Scott? And because I think he was brought on specifically, and he had to be courted very hard to get up there and go
They have
against
$100 million
Nikki
to throw
Haley.
around.
And I think that speaks a
Bet on a
world
loser
of
with $100 million.
wealth into what the Trump administration could look like.
Okay. So we have a big split here in the audience. Today, we had a poll. Royce, can you forward that poll to me? We had a poll. Oh, actually, hold on. I think I got it right here. That we asked, what about Vivek versus Tucker Carlson for VP? And the end results of that poll we shall display for you on the screen right now. This kind of shocked me, to be quite honest. We had nearly 9,000 votes, and Vivek was at 53%. Tucker was at 30%. Danny, does this surprise you? Obviously, there was a lot of energy for Tucker Carlson. Melania Trump's favorite is Tucker Carlson, if you were to believe the reporting.
Yeah, honestly, it's a little surprising, but I'll tell you what. I mean, after the last week, maybe not so much, because I think a lot of the reservations people had with Vivek is, they couldn't trust him because he was going against Trump. But after seeing the way he got behind Trump, fully supporting the MAGA agenda, seeing their camaraderie, seeing how Trump is actually listening to Vivek and how they work as a team together, I think people are seeing that they actually make a pretty good matchup as a ticket. And so I think ALX is right. I think that's where the energy is right now. I think people are just getting behind Vivek. They're trusting him more. They've always liked his ideas, I think. He was sort of like the Trump stand-in at the debates when
definitely needs to be
Democrats yelling at each other.
I agree.
And so
I'd
think,
love to have that.
Yeah, I think
I'd love to have
and that picture says it all. Look at that.
Danny, I think it was you that said Trump sort of stands behind him like a proud father, and calls him a dynamo, and then says that he's advising him on very important policy already. And Trump's like, thanks for talking to me about central bank digital currency.
It'd be perfect.
Right. If you take a look at those clips yesterday when Vivek was rallying up the crowd, and you can just, the body language just tells you everything there. Trump is just sort of standing in the back, resolute, but then also just like smiling and looking onto him like very proudly. Whereas when like even Tim Scott was speaking, he was kind of, or when Doug Bergen was speaking specifically, he was like very not enthused. He was like falling asleep. I think a speech about Doug Bergen's shower schedules would have been more entertaining than whatever he did yesterday. But Vivek's, man, that was energy right there. I mean, he was leading the crowd into like an incantation essentially. They were like so into it, and so I think that's where the energy is.
Since you did the name drop and you talked about Vivek sort of leading the crowd, we do have a shot of Vivek at the Trump victory party. Donald Trump has not yet taken the stage. We are being told that it'll happen momentarily. But here's Vivek just moments ago making the case for Donald Trump and the case against Nikki Haley. Expect Vivek, I think, to go hard in the paint.
Are you in Nashua right now at the
He's
party?
been after Haley from the start.
I am, Jesse. I'm right here at the party, the after party right here. And look, I think this is a decisive win for Donald Trump. That's what we're seeing tonight. I think there's actually an interesting view of this, which is it's like a terrain for the general election. You have more independents and Democrats, it looks like, voting in this GOP primary than registered Republicans themselves. And many of the largest donors to the Democratic Party have been the largest donors to Nikki Haley, who's Donald Trump's opponent here. So I think this is a prediction of what you're going to see in the general election. And the decisive margin we see tonight is in some ways, I think, something that bodes well for Trump heading into the general election in November to reunite this country. And so in my view, the general election really begins tonight. I think the Republican primary, for all intents and purposes, is over tonight. And I think the party and the country are better off if we see that for what it is.
Is Vivek Ramaswamy calling for Nikki Haley to suspend her campaign?
Look, I do think that would be the right thing for the country, unambiguously. And also just to call a spade, Jesse, as you know, I've not been unafraid to do that in this campaign. If Nikki Haley does stay in, it will send the signal that her only path and what she's playing for is for Donald Trump being eliminated by forces outside of this process, by the judicial system, by secretaries of state in places like Maine or elsewhere. And I think that's downright wrong. I think it's wrong for the Republican Party. I think it's wrong for this country. There is no viable path for her to defeat him through the front door. And so what we're really just seeing is the very people like Reid Hoffman, who are paying for the lawsuits against Donald Trump, now becoming the largest donors or among the largest donors to Nikki Haley. It becomes obvious that the thing they're playing for is Trump to be eliminated by what I view as illegitimate means. And I think that is bad for this party, bad for this country. That's what that will mean. And so for that reason, I do think the right decision for Nikki Haley to make for the country and for the Republican Party tonight or very soon after tonight is to make this a one-person nomination for the Republican nomination and then head to a general election where we can focus, I think, Jesse, this year on delivering a 1980s-style moral mandate, a Reagan-style landslide. When you have the likes of John Fetterman even recently talking about the importance of the southern border, that says that many Democrats and independents and libertarians agree with the views of this America First movement. That's why I took myself out of the race to endorse Donald Trump. I think the other Republicans have done the right thing. It's time for Nikki Haley to do the right thing as well and focus on a landslide this November that, dare I say, will reunite this country, and that's why I'm in this.
All right, Vivek, thank you so much. Enjoy the party.
We've seen something quite shocking
I think
Vivek Trump moment, in that young people are really being attracted to the MAGA movement in numbers we haven't seen, I think, in a very long time. Some polling, boys, shows Donald Trump winning the 18 to 35 vote. That's wild. Does that stand up? Like, do you see the sprinklings of that, Danny? Danny, of course, goes to school in Washington, D.C.
Yeah. And so the thing about Trump specifically that's so special about him is that he's a very cultural figure. And so no matter where you go, like the conversation somehow always ends up being about Donald Trump because he does sort of insert himself into culture. He knows how to play it well. It's one of his strengths, actually. And so on campus, obviously, a lot of conversations turn into very cultural things. And Trump right now is at the center because he's facing lawfare, and he's also engaging it in a very approachable manner. He's being very transparent about it. And so, especially when you look at independent creators, right? So for a long time, the media was controlled by these corporate entities who sort of decided what the talking points were going to be. But now, especially young people are turning to independent creators who are not beholden to these corporate entities. And so a lot of them are actually a lot more supportive of Trump's ideas and Republican and conservative ideas. And so they're getting a fresh take that maybe generations past of young people weren't getting. And so you're seeing it on campus. People are, I think, swinging conservative right now.
I think that's a wild, I mean, that's an absolutely wild thing to say. That, I mean, like something I didn't think I'd be saying 4 years ago was that Donald Trump's going to win the youth vote. But every single day you see data points out there saying that young people's lives just suck, especially Gen Z. ALX, you're a member of that generation. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I'm seeing the same kind of thing among my peers as well. While I'm not in school, but I, go out with friends and stuff. And even like some of the people that were anti-Trump that I talked to last election are kind of, especially on the whole cultural issues, like with trans issues and all of that, they kind of are like walking away from that and saying, okay, that's not like what I signed up for. And even Biden, I think, doesn't even agree with that kind of stuff. He's just being pushed by the rest of the party. And he's just kind of following along with that. So I feel like issues like that are really pulling people who are moderates away from what they thought was their party. And I know, like, younger people don't really pay attention to politics until it affects them. So like when they're seeing like the entire country like at war or whatever, and then they're like basically saying, I have to work like 9 to 5 or whatever, and I can barely, pay for what I want. And the government has all of this money to ship overseas and they have to pay their own bills. Then they look at how much is being taken out in taxes. They're kind of saying, okay, I kind of don't agree with raising taxes anymore. So when it really hits them and affects them, they kind of realize that they don't really support what they thought they did. And that's part of the case too, to have Vivek on the ticket is, I think Glenn Beck made this point that he could help appeal to more younger voters and help boost that demographic for Trump. So I think that might be a strategic choice for that avenue as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you think, Robbie, that like Nikki Haley is doing irreparable damage to her political career by staying in this race? That speech, I mean, like, as I'm looking through the headlines here, Haley vows to stay in race, right? Haley will stay in race. Here's Fox News. This is MSNBC. Same thing, you know, same thing. Haley's a part of every single conversation. And it seems like there's kind of like this, desire, this demand to have her stay in just to, I guess, hope against hope for something to happen. But as Haley remains in the race, I mean, I think she's going to solidify the criticisms against her, right?
I think you look at it and you go to these pictures that they have right now coming out of the post, speech environment right there in her campaign headquarters, and they are empty. She spoke less than an hour ago. There's no enthusiasm. She is falling flat. Her own voters who support her and showed up in freezing cold weather to go see her speak tonight aren't staying to hear her out. So when you look at her future, you're not going to have people show up for her in the future if she can't turn out her own voters who say they support her to stay in a room for an hour with free booze. Now, maybe they can't afford the free booze, so that's why they left. But I don't know for sure.
This is what Robbie's talking about. A clip that's we're ping pong balling around internally right now. Nikki Haley having an empty room,
attention span of
that packed audience with all those degenerates or belligerents screaming at Nikki Haley. This is what the room looks like now.
The Haley campaign. She's in Concord, in New Hampshire. Boy, closing time where you are, Kylie. No, the campaign party is over, I suppose.
Well, yeah, the room's quieting down. It was pretty loud earlier.
You can see here
it's like
closing time.
The Trump party went on well past midnight in Iowa, I will say. So everyone was there well past midnight there. So
Alex, you were there, and people were rocking, right?
Yep. Well past after Trump spoke, we basically had to get not kicked out, but like they were like taking down the tables and like, all right, we got to like clean up and ushered out. So we kind of had to get ushered out for people to start leaving. So we were having a grand time with Matt Gaetz talking about good old days. So
well, the good old days.
Let's be honest though. This is exactly how I would see a Nikki Haley party playing out.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah. That's the energy. No booze Nimbra at her party.
She can't sell the lie to her own people. That's how you know there's something wrong here. She can't sell the lie.
Well, we have to get some sleep and vote in the Democrat primary sometime.
These clips are so damaging of these guys being like, yo, I like Joe Biden, but I want to mess with Trump, so I'm voting for Nikki Haley. They're not even ashamed of it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like people kind of said that was a conspiracy theory. I don't know who it was. I just saw a clip on my feed. It was someone on MSNBC saying that Trump is spreading a conspiracy theory that Democrats can vote in the primary. They're using that, stupid, they're trying to be too literal with it. Okay, if somebody straight up says they're voting for Nikki Haley and they won't vote for Nikki Haley in the general election and they're voting for Joe Biden, I called that a Democrat, okay?
Yes.
It doesn't matter if they're registered independent or whatever. If you're voting for someone to weaken the opponent and you're going to vote for a Democrat in the general election, it's fair to say that they're Democrats, okay? So they're trying to be rhetorical with it and saying, well, they're registered independents, but it's just a farce. So
they say they're Democrats. They're the ones who say
they're
they're
talking
Democrats.
about the
This 20-second clip is going, and now I'm seeing this everywhere.
Talking about the,
not exactly sure if we're the ones who clipped this first. I wouldn't be surprised. This is the best production team on the planet, live on your screen right now. But this, I'm now seeing this everywhere, on every feed. This guy being like, I'm a Democrat. I love Joe Biden. I voted for Nikki Haley.
And why did you vote for Nikki Haley?
It's a vote against Trump. I think it would be better to have her against Biden in the elections than it would be Trump and her.
Do you consider yourself generally independent, Republican, or Democrat?
Democrat.
Haley's going to be.
So when you undeclared, you voted for election.
Joe Biden.
What is the?
Yeah, there it is.
I think it would be
Conspiracy theory.
better to have higher taxes. And just the upward inflection going on for like 20 minutes. Oh my goodness. He is the Wojak meme. He is the government harder meme.
Yeah, the guy who's yelling with like the scraggly facial hair.
Yeah.
Crying, salty tears pouring down his face. Haley vows to stay in race is what CNN is going with. So CNN is going with the Haley angle. There's something going on here, man. Something going on with Nikki Haley. She has like there's like a hubris there, as though like she knows either something bad is going to happen, or that she knows she has like so many Democrat backers that she can just stay in the race. I don't know what it is, but that speech shocked me. The speech shocked me. Not only that, she went hard after Donald Trump. She was like going really hard at now there is literally no data-driven path to the nomination for Nikki Haley, yet she's like insulting Trump, talking about his age, talking about how he's scared of her, talking about how he'd lose to Joe Biden. Like, that's doing damage to the Republican nominee. I don't know how you see her as anything other than a Democrat.
He won't allow any CBDCs, so we'll see.
Well, she's a fighter and she's scrappy.
For the wrong side, though. But I'm surprised she even, because she congratulated Trump off the top. I thought she was going to take a different tone with the speech. And then it went downhill. They started calling him senile and blah, blah, blah. And she had her one, yes man in the audience screaming like after every word. Whatever he was screaming.
Another Democrat plant.
Exactly.
He was screaming, "Don't change my name." He was screaming, "Please don't change my name before I register to use the internet."
That's crazy.
Probably the same guy that asked to marry her the other night.
Oh, right.
Fox News is leading with Trump again. Trump again. This is the Fox News headline here. MSNBC is just like crying into their keyboards. And the top line article here is why Haley didn't mention Nevada. Well, because she's not going to be on the campaign in Nevada.
Well, I'm hearing it's already pretty much in place.
So, right? So she won't be on the ballot, I believe. Right?
And that's why she's ignoring it. And again, it's super weird that she's gone straight to South Carolina, where you'd think that she would be, more competitive than New Hampshire, and it seems like she's going to get the floor wiped with her. So, interesting strategy.
Yeah. So it says here, Nevada Republican primary where ballots will include Haley. Some of the other candidates dropped out, like former Vice President Mike Pence, but not Trump. 2 days later, we'll see the Nevada Republican caucus, where caucus goers can choose between Trump and Pastor Ryan Binkley. Confused, you're not alone. The upshot is that Trump will almost certainly come away with Nevada's 26 delegates. So Nevada turning out to not be a competition at all, unless there's Binkley momentum.
Well, one thing these numbers are telling us is what the
Trump tops Haley
general
in New
election
Hampshire
look like.
So again, they're gonna make it about Haley. I'm not sure exactly how long she'll be able to continue the charade, but it is nice to see guys like Vivek really taking the punditry path. Like we were talking about Vivek and how he's impressed all of us this week, and he's like been on TV like nonstop from Trump's headquarters. He's like the number one booking from Trump HQ. We've been monitoring this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. What a hell of a surrogate to have on your campaign trail right now. At every state, he can like get in front of any camera, any reporter, and just deliver a message super clearly, super succinctly, and even challenge the narratives that reporters often bring to their questions.
Sharp,
he's doing a phenomenal job. And I think it shows that they make a really good team.
It really does. I think he's beloved. We had some photos from earlier today of him going around to campaign events, and the guy's just beloved. Like, here we go. This is tweeted out by Team Trump. This is the official Donald Trump X account for the Trump campaign, and it's Vivek, doing the campaign trail and being kind of treated like a celebrity, right? Oh, here we are.
Well,
ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump live.
It's time.
Walking out. He has walked out on stage.
Tim Scott.
There's Tim Scott and Vivek. Oh, no.
Vivek's closer.
Yep, Vivek's closer.
Tim Scott and Vivek walking out with Trump. Crazy. And now Trump's welcoming them over. And so come on down, boys.
Looks like he'll have the family behind him.
Eric.
In Iowa.
Laura, Trump. Eric's wife, obviously.
Well, he had predetermined order.
I'm almost 100% positive. Is that Scavino?
We got Scavino. Yeah, Scavino was on stage in Iowa, too.
Okay.
Jason Miller. Stephen Chung.
It's just like he was carved, not born.
There we go. The band is back together. Ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, the MAGA Avengers, which is what they have now been termed. I wish they would have had this inside of the stadium with that
I know. SNHU Arena would have been cool.
These are so funny because you cannot even get like the press risers high enough to see over the cameras, the cell phones.
Yep.
For this stuff. There's Trump huddling with Vivek and Scott. Isn't that interesting? He wanted that photo. Trump wanted that photo.
Intentional.
My boy wanted that photo. He went and gave him a hug. All right. As soon as Trump starts speaking, we bring him in. They play obviously the song and the music, and there's a lot of applauding and cheering, and Trump obviously commands the stage and allows for the Lee Greenwood song to play out.
That's at that guy's spot.
Takes the podium. Here we go.
The panel.
And I'm going to interrupt you now because he is at the microphone. Former President of the United States, Donald Trump, the projected winner of the New Hampshire Republican primary.
And I took Benny's spot.
Well, I want to thank everybody. This is a fantastic state. This is a great, great state. You know, we won New Hampshire 3 times now. Three. We win it every time. We win the primary. We win the generals. We've won it, and it's a very, very special place to me. It's very important. If you remember, in 2016, we came here and we needed that win, and we won by 21 points, and it was great. And today, I have to tell you, it was very interesting because I said, wow, what a great victory. But then somebody ran up to the stage all dressed up nicely when it was at 7. But now I just walked up and it's at 14. But she ran up when it was 7. And
oh, no.
Introducing the Lord.
Uh-oh. Ladies and gentlemen, hold up. We got it. Back at it.
Let's see if it gets Vivek's name right. There we go.
Last week we had a little bit of a problem, and if you remember, Ron was very upset because she ran up and she pretended she won Iowa. And I looked around, I said, didn't she come in 3rd? Yeah, she came in 3rd. And then I looked at the polls. She was talking about most winnability, who's going to win, and I had one put up. I don't know if you see it, but I have one put up. We've won almost every single poll in the last 3 months against crooked Joe Biden. Almost every poll. And she doesn't win those polls. And she doesn't win those. This is not your typical victory speech, but let's not have somebody take a victory when she had a very bad night. She had a very bad night. And you have the now very unpopular governor of this state. This guy, he's got to be on something. I've never seen anybody with energy. He's like hopscotch. And I'm watching this guy, and 2 weeks ago, I said, we're going to win. We're going to win in the landslide. We're going to win. About 3 days ago, I started saying, well, we want to do well. That's a big difference. But I walked out just now, we're 14 points up, and I don't know what it's going to be. But when she was up here, it was like 6 or 7. And, with like 7% of the vote counted. Now, let me just tell you, we had an unbelievable week last week in Iowa. We set a record. It was the best in the history of the caucus, in the history. And I remember I sort of had the same feeling. I'm up and I'm watching, and I said, she's taking a victory lap. And we beat her so badly. But Ron beat her also. Ron came in second and he left. She came in third and she's still hanging around. The other thing, she only got 25% of the Republican votes. I don't know if you saw that. Tremendous numbers of independents came out because in this state, because you have a governor that doesn't frankly know what the hell he's doing in this state, in the Republican primary, they accept Democrats to vote. In fact, I think they had 4,000 Democrats before October 6th. They already voted. Now, they're only voting because they want to make me look as bad as possible. Because if you remember, we won in 2016. And if you really remember, and if you want to play it straight, we also won in 2020 by more. And we did much better in 2020 than we did in 2016. But as they said, we lost by a whisker, just by a whisker. No. But we can't let that happen. You have to have people that speak up. I said, I can go up and I can say to everybody, oh, thank you for the victory. It's wonderful. Or I can go up and say, who the hell was the imposter that went up on the stage before and claimed a victory? She did very poorly, actually. She had to win. The governor said, she's going to win, she's going to win, she's going to win. Then she failed badly. Now I have here, if he promises to do it in a minute or less, but the only person more angry than, let's say me, but I don't get too angry, I get even. The only person, because he was there and he did fantastically well, by the way, and then he endorsed me. And we don't have to talk about Tim Scott, who, by the way, just got engaged, we have to tell you. And that's more important than all of this stuff. But a man that got to know her very well is Vivek. I said, Vivek. I said, Vivek.
Oh, man.
Go up and say a few words about it. He has to do it in 1 minute or less. And then we're going to just say, we had one hell of a night tonight. And one other thing before Vivek comes. Do you see that poll? We're going to put it up. We have beaten Biden. You could almost say, who can't? Who the hell can't? The man can't put two sentences together. He can't find the stairs off the stage. Who can't? But Vivek, 1 minute or less. Go do it, Vivek.
Listen to him go.
He didn't even try to say Ramaswamy this time.
Is America first defeating America last. That's what we saw tonight. If you want America last, you can go to Joe Biden. You got another candidate still apparently in the Republican primary. Cut your Social Security to fork over more money to Ukraine so some kleptocrat can buy a bigger house. Go to Nikki Haley. But you know who delivered a double-digit victory tonight? It is a double-digit victory as of right now. Is this man, Donald J. Trump, the leader of America first? And that means something. Now, USA and Donald Trump, America first. Now, I got 30 seconds left. I want to make this point here, okay? We got to say this. We got to say this right. What we see right now with her continuing in this race is the ugly underbelly of American politics, where the mega donors are trying to do one thing when we, the people, say another. And it's up to us, we, the people, to at long last say, hell no, We, the people, create a government that is accountable to us. And we, the people, have said tonight we want, again, as we did in Iowa, Donald J. Trump. And so you want to actually speak truth. That's the truth tonight. And the only thing they're rooting for is an ugly thing that we don't want to see happen. That's what these people are rooting for, is playing to say long enough so the Reid Hoffmans and the ugly Democratic George Soros Jr.'s who are funding the lawsuits against Trump can prop up their puppet. We say no to that vision. I say the general election begins tonight, and this man will win it in a landslide. God bless you, Donald J. Trump. Vote Trump USA.
Just clapped him up.
He gets all pumped
Very
up, man.
nice. Wasn't that nice?
He means it.
So, this
Dynamo.
is a good evening, and I want to thank everybody in the audience, and I want to thank the people that are standing behind me. You know, I think we called it right. Immigration's a big deal, a very big deal. We have millions and millions of people flowing into our country illegally. We have no idea who the hell they are. They come from prisons and they come from mental institutions, and it's just killing our country. And I'm talking about millions and millions and millions. They are drug dealers. They're everybody. And they come in just like walking right through. There's nobody to check and there's nobody to vet. And we have a man with us tonight, Tom Homan, who is central casting. He's central casting. And I'd like you to say a few words about
remarks of the victor here in New Hampshire.
Whoa. Come on, boys.
At his watch party in Nashville.
Come on, boys.
If you listen
Incorrect. Let's go. Royce has got it, baby. Our apologies. Never in our wildest dreams could we have imagined. But here we go.
Corporate media.
I worked for 6 presidents around Reagan, and every president I ever worked for did something to secure the border. But no one did more than President Trump. The most secure border in my lifetime.
The data proves
Absolutely,
that.
Volsor. Thanks for being here,
secure
man.
border we've ever seen.
Always happy to see you around.
And Donald Trump's going to do it again. We're going to lock the border down. We're going to protect Americans, because what's happening at the border right now, record number of Americans have died from fentanyl poisoning. Record number of migrants have died. A record number of women and children have been sex trafficked. A record number of known suspected terrorists across the border. There's one man who's proven.
Our dinners with Donald Trump, for instance, you're in touch with Trump's team. Doesn't seem like a great idea to say this about your former boss. Like, he's a loser. He doesn't have the mental capacity. He'll lose. Like, yikes. That's going to start a war.
Her burning this is her burning a bridge. I mean, there's some grace for some people that, you know, for example, DeSantis, there was a lot of people who didn't think that, you know, Trump would be forgiving of DeSantis. But the thing is, you know, he stayed in for one state, kind of faced reality, and did the respectable thing and endorsed Trump. Haley is now going to stay in after multiple states, and has no real clear path for victory.
No
And
path, Nikki.
she's just going to go out and basically
Hashtag no path, Nikki.
oh, he's racist, he's sexist, he's homophobic, blah blah blah, he's this, he's that, and now they're playing the he's mentally deficient card. So this seems like she's going to burn a bridge. I don't think that toxic attitude has any place in the next administration. So I don't think she'll be brought back into the fold. There's like a point of no return. Obviously, Trump is very gracious, but as he learned in the first term that he had, he has to be careful on who he trusts. And I just don't see someone who's like spewing this at this point being brought into the fold, even when she steps out.
I do think that now it's going to get very toxic and very poisonous. Nikki Haley, I think, held back on going directly at Trump. If I was reading sort of the last 9 to 10 months of the primary, she didn't go as super hard in the paint, and now she's going directly at Donald Trump. And I don't know, man. In the words of Chuck Schumer, you may reap the whirlwind. This is a guy who announces he's already won states after winning I say this is a guy who announces, I am now the winner of other states in a state that he's just won. That's not that state. What am I talking about? This moment that's making a lot of headlines.
Energy costs are going down by 50%.
They're rooting for is an ugly thing that we.
Next week, it's Nevada. Next week, it's Nevada. It's not South Carolina. We love South Carolina, but next week, it's Nevada. And I'm pleased to announce we just won Nevada. We just won.
Okay, Madman. Sorry if that clip had a glitch in it. Madman. I'm pleased to announce we've just won Nevada, he says, after winning New Hampshire in New Hampshire. So we talked about that, and we read the article about it. Donald Trump will win Nevada. I'm not sure he's even gonna go out there. Alex, do you know?
I'm not sure if he will. I feel like he will, though, just out of respect. I mean, he has the hotel there, so that would be like a natural, home base for him there. So I feel like he will go there. I'm not sure if he has anything on his schedule, but I feel like it will be more of like a victory lap, saying, "Hey, I didn't abandon you guys," like Nikki Haley, my opponent, and who's the other one on the ballot? It's Binkley or whatever. So I feel like
Binkley.
Yeah, he'll go to draw the contrast of just to rub it in her face that he's on the ballot and she isn't, and he's basically going to make the point that I don't even have to be here and I'm here. So I feel like he will go.
Right. So Trump has a rally on Saturday in Las Vegas.
Got it.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So we saw, though, what I found the most interesting is, one, Donald Trump announcing his victory in Nevada. Two, Donald Trump being like, "You call me a loser? No, I'm the one who calls people losers," to Nikki Haley. That's number two. The number one most interesting thing was Vivek Ramaswamy and Tim Scott together on stage. Both people rumored to be on the Trump VP list, and both of them doing quite a bit of a song and dance with Donald Trump, like multiple interactions, jumping up and grabbing the microphone. What do you make of this, Robbie?
I think, like you said, it's the Apprentice in real life. This is everything Trump wants. This is the theater that got him elected the first time. It's the palace intrigue. I think he is going all the way hard in on. He's going to have people come out who are going to invigorate the base and who are going to bring new voters in. And Vivek and Senator Scott both do that. They reach out to different demographics. They're both going to be good choices as VP candidates. As we've all discussed, I think there's an affinity on this team for Vivek at the moment, but do not discount Senator Scott and his way to just jump up on stage and then also bring home the voters that Nikki Haley can't. I think if you look at the polling that you'll see come out of South Carolina, he'll do better with suburban housewives than Nikki Haley would any day of the week. Nikki Haley is just
Donald Trump would?
Flat. Not Donald Trump per se, exactly, but having Senator Tim Scott there, he just snatches those types of people away from Nikki Haley. There's no room for her to wiggle. She's not going to get this little bump from Democrats. And if you look at this, results, it has stayed at 55% all night. And you know what? Everyone was wondering, are Ron DeSantis people going to vote for Nikki Haley? I can tell you one thing. I have never met a Ron DeSantis voter who voted for Nikki Haley. I think you've got basically Democrats switching over. It's all going to end when she gets to South Carolina. Trump has put together a coalition there of every senator, sitting governor, every leader in that state is going for him. She has no wiggle room. She's stuck in the mud and she knows it. And I think it's something you were asking earlier. Is she dead after this? Yeah, she's dead. You cannot lose your home state and continue on in politics. That is the death knell for anyone.
So Donald Trump, just a little note to Nikki, you are not going to win. But if she did, she would be under investigation by those people in 15 minutes. Little stuff she doesn't want to talk about. Now, Vivek, I don't think that would be happening at all because Vivek is perfect. Huh? This is the quote from Donald Trump. Vivek is perfect. What do you make of that, Danny?
I think that says a lot about where his mind's at. He's been mentioning Vivek a lot during his speeches. He's very front of mind right now. And again, we're seeing how they work together. But I think I don't know. It's looking good for Vivek. I think Alex is calling it right here. I think Vivek has a really good shot right now at being Trump's VP. Just seeing where the cards are right now, Trump is really liking Vivek. You can just see it, body language and all. It's just there.
So we've obviously done a bit of content with Vivek, hung out with him, consider him a friend. And I can tell you this, man, it's hard to hide your inauthentic. If you are an inauthentic person and you are a liar, it's hard to hide that when you're fully embedded with somebody and you're like traveling with them for multiple days. And like that dude like actually cared about the Republican base. Like he really does. He really like listened to people and had these like heartfelt interactions with them on the trail. Like they knew him, like he was like part of their family. Like he's gone over and had dinner at their house. And he also listened to the base when it came to us. We view ourselves on this show as emissaries for you, for the people who are actually who actually make up the Republican Party, right? There is no Republican Party without us. And we're simple conservatives, simple Republicans. And when we got a chance to advise Vivek before a debate, he literally listened to everything we said and then went out on stage and did it. And like flamed Rana and flamed the moderators and said Tucker Carlson should be moderating this debate. And the whole place went lit on fire, right? Set ablaze. And that's what it took. And while, some people try to compliment this team, and, I love this team, I'll talk up this team, but actually we've been giving this advice for free to anyone who will listen. It's just like Vivek was the first guy to listen. And there's something to that. There's something special about that.
Yeah, that's 100% correct, because they have all of these advisors.
And Trump's jumped out to a commanding lead.
And for, him to take free advice, basically, and good advice at that, and have it be like the most viral thing. That's the thing too. You quite literally called it. You said that's all everyone's going to talk about, and you're going to set the tone for the entire debate for the rest of the night, just on that opening statement. And that's all the internet was talking about the entire night. Suck the oxygen out of every single candidate.
Bro, Nikki Haley went on some podcast that nobody listens to, in some consultant class, establishment DC cucked podcast, and was like, Vivek has a woman problem. after that. We got in their heads.
Yeah, exactly.
We got in their heads.
Exactly.
Danny says that Vivek is in Trump's head. Danny says that Vivek is top of mind. We have a clip of Glenn Beck saying that Donald Trump keeps being advised to pick Vivek as his vice president. So Donald Trump's clearly doing an apprenticeship thing here. Now, you'll note.
Yeah, a lot of people have. I want to say something real quick about the numbers. Just judging from what I've heard tonight, I bet that they got the word out to the Democrat base, right? And said, Haley is going to be easier to beat than Trump. We need to get out and vote for Nikki. And this is probably like coming down from the Democrat donors, right? Who said, we'll create optics in this race here to keep you going. And then, we'll just probably try this everywhere they go. That's probably what's happened. Let's keep an eye on it. Okay, back to these guys.
What we saw tonight is America first defeating America last. That's what we saw tonight. If you want America last, you can go to Joe Biden. You got another candidate still apparently in the Republican primary. Cut your Social Security to fork over more money to Ukraine so some kleptocrat can buy a bigger house. Go to Nikki Haley. But you know who delivered a double-digit victory tonight? It is a double-digit victory as of right now. Is this man, Donald J. Trump, the leader of America first? And that means something. Now, USA and Donald Trump, America first. Now, I got 30 seconds left. I want to make this point here, okay? We got to say this. We got to say this right. What we see right now with her continuing in this race is the ugly underbelly of American politics, where the mega donors are trying to do one thing when we, the people, say another. And it's up to us, we, the people, to at long last say, hell no. We, the people, create a government that is accountable to us. And we, the people, have said tonight, we want, again, as we did in Iowa, Donald J. Trump. And so you want to actually speak truth. That's the truth tonight. And the only thing they're rooting for is an ugly thing that we don't want to see happen. That's what these people are rooting for, is playing to say long enough so the Reid Hoffmans and the ugly Democratic George Soros Jr.'s who are funding the lawsuits against Trump can prop up their puppet. We say no to that vision. I say the general election begins tonight, and this man will win it in a landslide. God bless you, Donald J. Trump. Vote Trump USA.
That poll's still behind. Let's go with theirs.
Vote Trump USA. That should be remixed and turned into an absolute banger. Robbie, like, this does absolutely seem like The Apprentice in real life.
I mean, look at him. Look at him on stage. When Trump picks someone, it's because they mimic or they reflect what Trump values. And what does Trump value? Trump values someone who is well-spoken. Trump values someone who can get on social media and spread a message. Trump values people who listen. And I think if you look at Vivek, you have a candidate who was fresh, unseasoned, and went out there, didn't know how to play the game, and played it his way, and got from 0% to, what was it, around 8-9% in Iowa? I mean, that's unbelievable for someone who's never been in politics, who's not even 40 years old. Vivek went in and changed the game. And we're talking about having a next generation of leaders. And President Trump is grooming Vivek to be the next head of MAGA. It's that simple.
It needs to happen.
Well, you can't have you can't have the continuation of the movement without young blood and without people that actually believe in the movement passing that baton on. We've learned the hard lesson with Mike Pence. Danny, right. You were laughing probably the hardest at this clip. This never underestimate Tim Scott's ability to be incredibly awkward. Tim Scott grabbed the mic away from Donald Trump at one point in this speech and did this.
Did you ever think that she actually appointed you, Tim? And think of it, appointed, and you're the senator of his state, and she endorsed me. You must really hate her. No, it's a shame. It's a shame. Uh-oh.
I just love you.
No, that's why he's a great politician.
Danny, your thoughts on that moment?
He just looked uncomfortable in the back, kind of like squirming around the camera to get into the tight shot as Trump was speaking. And I mean, honestly, if you could just sense like the comparison between how Trump and Vivek get along and then how Trump and Tim Scott get along, it's totally different. After Vivek spoke, he went over to Trump and just clapped him up, gave him a big high five. And then you're looking at this, and it's a little different. It's a little more awkward, a little more political. Trump even went as far as to call him a politician for saying that, for not bashing Nikki Haley on stage. I think the energy is with Vivek right now, and that clip was very, very uncomfortable to watch.
So ALX for the for the show in the morning.
A little inception going on here.
The executive producer that helps us put together our morning show, our Benny Show podcast in the morning, live at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every morning. This is a good one. Got to have this in the show. Apparently, Joe Biden won in New Hampshire, and he wasn't even awake at the White House. Here's Peter Doocy.
And remarkably, just as you were coming to us, his team in Wilmington, the campaign team, put out a statement. It has nothing to do with his successful write-in campaign in New Hampshire, his first win this cycle. Instead, it's just about Trump. The campaign manager says tonight's results confirm Donald Trump has all but locked up the GOP nomination, and the election-denying anti-freedom MAGA movement has completed its takeover of the Republican Party.
God.
So,
wow,
Joe Biden not even at the White House, and I think not awake. So,
I think that speaks for his presidency. That's basically been his entire presidency, been traveling, been on vacation, been asleep at key moments. And it seems like they're singing glowing praise about the MAGA movement, and they've completed the takeover of the Republican Party. I mean, it's music to my ears. So I welcome that statement. And they're less delusional than Nikki Haley, actually. So whatever.
To some degree, it almost sounds like the Nikki Haley campaign and the Biden campaign are sharing consultants. I mean, that statement almost read like a Nikki Haley statement. sort of bashing the MAGA movement any chance they get.
That's exactly right. And this, to that point, Danny, that you just made, 70% of Nikki Haley voters in New Hampshire were not registered Republicans, according to an exit poll.
You know how they got that number? Because the first thing they said when they walked out is they just gave their pronouns, and then they just said that that's got to be a Democrat. I saw the comments were saying Nikki Haley uses her pronouns, which I thought was great.
Get the current primary standings. Oh,
there's somebody who can't even remember.
There you go.
Much less pronouns, but who's president right now, and that's Nancy Pelosi. We got one final clip here that's just so funny. Robbie just found this of Nancy Pelosi being
Joe Biden was
unable to
this whole thing's
get
confusing.
her words together, keep her dentures in her mouth.
It is,
too many, like it's way too late. It's 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. This is like 40 martinis in, very dry martinis in the commemorative January 6th martini glasses in Nancy Pelosi's office. Nancy Pelosi did a live hit, and it was a train wreck. And well, this is what we're fighting if you need some cold comfort.
Well, let me just say I'm not going to spend too much time on Donald Trump's cognitive disorders. But what I am going to say, and I want to, in friendship, say to Chris, he tried to say that Nikki Haley did not allow the National Guard to come, but it was Nancy Pelosi. It was nobody. It was Joe. It was Donald Trump. Well,
she almost said Joe Biden. She almost said Joe Biden. It was Joe. L.
Why is she panting?
It's that dry mouth you get after.
All right, boys. All right. Here we go. Let's do a couple super chats real fast. Joan Smith, thank you. God bless you. Super sticker.
Right.
Joseph
Good
Brown, let's go.
Probably
Trump
get
from
on outta
Canada. Whoa, Joseph, move to the States, become a voter. Mark Owens,
Thanks for the coverage, guys. Appreciate it. So that was exciting. I just skipped them. Okay, cool. Now it's just me. Now it's just us. Up to the top. Well, pretty decisive, huh? Woo. Well, I kind of knew how it was going to turn out tonight. Yeah, again, I think that we're going to see more of this crossover voting happen. It seems to me like, if she had dropped out, then I'd say it was a one-time thing, but I have a feeling they've got the word out that that it's that Nikki is going to be easier to beat, and they're scared of Trump winning, so this is what they're doing. So I don't think we've seen the last of it. I think it'll be an ongoing thing. That's just my prediction. I could be wrong, but I think that we're going to see much more of this crossover strategy voting, and no doubt they've mobilized people to try to get a weaker candidate in so that they could have an easier time winning. So that's good. That's good news. That shows you that they're desperate and they are panicking. So that's good news for us. Hard to believe, man. We've survived 3 years of this stuff. Now we got one more to go, basically. Well, until November, right? But still last year. Hopefully it doesn't do anything drastic. Doesn't pardon a bunch of people that should be pardoned, things like that. But we can make it, man. We can make it. We can make it and see better days for sure. Yeah, like I said, I think they just told him, they just said, we need to go make sure Trump doesn't get in because we're not looking too good in the polls. And I'm sure that for the Democrat donors that are behind her, it's easy for them to trigger their crowd into action just by putting fear into them, right? Well, they're going to lose anyways, but good seeing you too, Afix, man. I'll stop by, dude, sometime. I'll see you hanging around the server. I want to talk with you anyways, man. We'll catch up. Thanks for coming by, man. I appreciate it. Yep. Open primaries are BS. Yeah, I hear you on that. They can be for sure. You have open primaries up in your state. Open primaries are wild. But I mean, like I said, there comes a time when sometimes you need the option to strategy vote. So I could come up with that scenario, but I know in this case they're like, oh, this is horrifying. But it's like really, you'll just get to see like a little preview of the general election if they all actually come out in force. You never know. Let's see. So tomorrow night I'll be back with we're gonna watch that Southern Border Invasion documentary, the new one that just came out. You're gonna want to catch this. It's awesome. These two brothers went from Ecuador to the U.S. border. They ran into all kinds of things along the way. They saw how organized it was. They got footage of all this. They did, interviews with asked people where they were from. You'll be surprised at the demographics on this march from Ecuador to the southern border of Texas. It's a really good documentary. I'll be back tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern for Unveiling Reality. And we're going to watch that. And I hope you guys will all join us because everybody needs to see this documentary. Everybody needs to see it, especially right now. Perfect timing. And it's perfect timing to know about it, tell more people about it, and to know the details that lie within. So we're going to do that tomorrow night, and we're going to have a good old time. So I hope to see you guys back then. Any parting thoughts from the crowd? I do appreciate everybody being here tonight. Thanks you. We're up to 303 last time I checked on Rumble followers now. So we blew right past 300, well on our way to 400. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for that. And let's see, on X, we got another follower over there. We're 5 away from 300 on X. So we're building up the free speech platforms every time we go live. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate all of it. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. I'm out of here. I'll see you tomorrow night, 8 p.m. for the U.S. Southern Border Invasion documentary. It really doesn't have a name. It needs a catchy name. It doesn't have one. But anyways, man, until then, y'all, like Trump, keep on winning.
Get this done. We are in the middle of a war in this country. It's not between black and white or even between most Democrats and Republicans. It is between those of us who love this country and a fringe minority who hates the United States of America and what we stand for. Between the permanent state and the everyday citizen. And right now we need a commander-in-chief who will lead us to victory in this war. That is this man standing right here. If you want to seal the border, vote Trump. If you want to restore law and order in this country, vote Trump. If you want to defeat the deep state, vote Trump. If you want to fight inflation, vote Trump. If you want to revive national pride in this country, vote Trump. If you want to revive our national identity in this country, vote Trump. If you want to make America great again, vote Trump. That's how we're going to win this in a landslide in November, like Reagan delivered in 1980. That's what we're going to deliver, and Donald Trump is going to deliver this November. Reunite this country. You guys do your part. Come out on Tuesday night. End this primary right here. Off to defeat Joe Biden in November. And our best days as a nation are still yet ahead of us. Vote Trump, and that's how we do this. God bless you and your families and our United States. Vote Trump.